Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome in on a Thursday. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos is here, and Halloween has not arrived. Not just yet. You'll see once the video feed hits. Oh, it's already going.
I cannot sit across from you the whole time, man.
Yeah, we got a little Minshew Mania, baby.
A little Minshew Mania. Absolutely.
I had to get my costume ready to go.
Yeah.
This kind of feels good, actually.
I'm not going to lie. My jean shorts a little too short for my liking. I got a little look sleeve in the apartment complex, but that's okay. But I took this super seriously, Brent. Like, it's not just a brand. It's kind of a lifestyle. So today I went to the YMCA. I did some Zercher squats. Really, really distinguished my legs and everything like that to wear these jean shorts today. So overall, I'm happy with how my look turned out.
Well, I got a new Dream 18 shirt that we're going to give away for our golf tournament.
Looks good.
And I just cut the sleeves off. And by the way, had a little help downstairs in the sports department. Olivia Tassley, she helped out.
Right on.
Now, I bought a bandana, a red one, but she made the bandana out of my sleeves.
Oh, okay.
So, by the way,
nice Nike sign right there.
Nike, where are you? Nike, right here. We have cameras all over the place.
Yeah.
Nike, check it out.
Wait, so are you saying...
Is it the right way, by the way?
No, you're absolutely correct. Are you saying that that's a Nike shirt that you chopped up for the Dream 18? Dang. Yeah. Nike's taking part in the Dream 18.
Listen, man, I went all in.
I guess you did.
On Minshew Mania.
I guess you did.
Showing off the guns.
I respect it, man.
Got a golfer's tan a little bit.
I respect it.
I haven't played much golf, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But we're in full costume.
We are in full costume.
The place has Minshew Mania. People are excited about Minshew. That's, if it's the one thing you're looking forward to on Sunday is how will this guy play? Will he do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I did my research. I did my due diligence. It's almost like face-off, right, when they're researching who they're going to take over for. I mean, I was researching Gardner Minshew, and I noticed that when he wears jean shorts, he prefers to wear the white T-shirt because I was going to a sleeveless shirt like you, but unfortunately, that's not what he does, Brent. So I was trying to get in character here.
I've got to talk to Gardner a little bit because I don't know where the hell he got these other outfits from. I tried to look it up. Like, I was going to go, I got the chain and everything. Like, I was going to go button down and that goofy thing that he had on at the Senior Bowl or the bowl game.
The Washington State suit.
And I don't know where he got it because
how are you in college and can swing that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I was showing chest hair and everything today with a chain. And then I decided I had to cut back to this look.
You're all good, man. You look good.
By the way, you have like cut off stuff. Like, why do you wear a regular T-shirt?
What did I just say, man? I said when I did my research on Gardner Minshew, because I am a method actor, Brent. I'm like Daniel Day-Lewis, and when I get into character, I make sure I do it right. And every picture that I've seen Gardner Minshew rocking jean shorts, he's wearing a white T-shirt. So there you go.
There you go. You got it right then.
Yeah.
By the way, this is nothing for you.
Oh, this is a Saturday for me. Come on.
The more and more I thought about this, Coos, I was like, I think Minshew and Lane could hang around together.
That's a good point.
Like, you guys would have been buddies in the locker room if you were still playing or he was playing when you played.
It's a damn good point, Brent. Yeah, I'm not going to deny those allegations whatsoever. I feel like we're kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit. I think we're both comfortable in our own skin as I was driving here and walking into the building with people kind of staring at me a little bit with my ridiculously short jean shorts. But, hey, it's all good, man. Like I said, it's not just a look, it's a lifestyle, and I'm living it right now.
For me, I'm not comfortable in my own skin like this, okay? This is not me. I'm going to actually sit here like this the whole time and try to flex or something.
I'm not going to lie. If I saw you like this in public, I'd think you're robbing a bank or something. Like, just saying.
I did just go to Wawa, but I made sure I changed after the fact.
Fair enough. I'm not mad at you.
And, this is like a style. He likes the style. He's into his own thing. He does his own thing.
Yeah.
And you can appreciate that. You respect that. And like I was saying about you, this is nothing compared to what you did that one night after that award show.
Well,
and I didn't get the memo.
First of all, you sent the memo.
I sent the memo.
And you said we had to dress up for the Met Gala.
I didn't know you were really going to do it.
When Brent Martineau.
What was that?
It was the Met Gala, man.
The Met Gala.
And when you say, hey, let's dress up for the Met Gala, and I say, okay, I'm going to follow through on it. And I did.
The greatest thing about the Met Gala day is we had like BSN Sports was in here, and they had, gosh, I forget his name right now, but great guy, great inspirational story who was visiting and talking to kids.
And it's a feel-good story.
And so we're taking pictures with him, and you're in your Met Gala suit.
And I'm dressed like the biggest a-hole ever, dude. And I'm trying to like be serious for this guy who's like sharing his heart and everything. Yeah, that was one of the awkward days of my career.
Well, listen, okay, we're being a little goofy today on the Minshew stuff, but it is for real. Do you kind of sense it, man?
Yes.
I mean, what a wild phenomenon this guy is. And I was reading more on him today, and I'm trying. Now, what you try to do is you try to find more stuff, and what can you get, and where's a little bit more deeper research and background and all this stuff. And I think you see things popping up left and right, maybe a little note here, a little nugget here. And I go back to what I said yesterday. Yeah, he's an interesting cat. He's a fun guy, fun-loving guy, good guy, very down to earth, and he is comfortable in his own skin. But when you talk to people down at Jags headquarters, he's a quarterback, and he's got the quarterback traits. You know, this isn't a quarterback trait thing.
No.
You know, like when Blake Bortles was here, Blake Bortles did a lot of things that didn't really scream out quarterback, you know, but he was fun. You know, it was cool. But they kind of forgot that CEO part at the same time, like once he punched his code. And again, I don't want to misrepresent that. It's just like, it's not like he was bad inside the building or anything like that. He just was who he was, and he was more Blake Bortles than he was Peyton Manning in terms of that CEO type of quarterback, that guy in the building.
Yeah.
And not from play on the field. I'm just saying the way he held himself. He was more just, hey, regular dude, cool dude guy than say, a Peyton Manning-esque kind of quarterback that we know at the quarterback position sits. Minshew is kind of a crossbreed. Minshew's his own dude, and he does this kind of stuff, and he wears this, and he's comfortable in it.
Yeah.
But I do get the sense, like, in those walls, he is CEO kind of guy. He's not just like, quipping jokes and all this.
No.
I mean, he's dead serious about his craft. He studies hard. He knows the playbook, and he has that cross of cool dude, CEO guy. That's a tough cross to get.
Exactly. So, you know, we've been hearing a lot about the comparisons between Blake Bortles and Gardner Minshew, you know, and
Kuz tried to bring it up yesterday.
Kuz brought it up a little bit, but I mean, listen, it kind of goes warranted a little bit. I mean, Barstool Sports seems to be infatuated with both kind of guys, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, both guys kind of seem like that laid back type of person. But the difference is, listen, I understand Gardner Minshew's rocking the mustache. He's got the headband and everything, rocking the jean shorts sometimes. I'm not mad at him for that. And he's kind of got like this cool personality when he comes across in interviews and stuff like that. But when the helmet goes on, when the shoulder pads go on, and he's rocking the Jaguars jersey, well, all of a sudden now the mustache goes away, right? Now all the stuff that we know him for, where he's diving in the ocean with giant grouper fish or whatever, that stuff goes away.
Yeah.
And all we have to go off of is what we see on the field. And I'm not trying to knock Blake Bortles here, but you never really got the sense that Blake Bortles was an ultimate leader. Right, you got the sense that Blake Bortles was along for the ride, but I think he was the last guy on the team to try to grab somebody with a helmet and say, "Hey, we got to go right now."
That's a good point.
And follow behind me.
Yeah.
I feel like with Gardner Minshew, you get that, and that's all that matters. You know, I mean, the mustache and everything's fun, and you know, all the hype is everything's fun. But when I go on, like when I watch the games, Brent, and even in the preseason, I see a guy that's not scared to get hit, and I see a guy that wants to be a leader.
Yeah, and I think that's not an easy thing to pull off, those two things.
No, especially as a rookie. You kidding me?
Well, early as a rookie, you're right.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I think we have to caution, and we said this a lot yesterday. The book is very much unwritten on Gardner Minshew in the NFL. He had a superb performance. You will hear from John DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator. I asked him today, I said, how hard is what he did? You know, I don't think everybody knows that. They just say, hey, he came in here 22 or 25, maybe he's the next whoever guy. I don't care if he is the next whoever guy. What he did on Sunday to go 22 or 25, feel calm, feel confident, be accurate, all those things as a rookie 6th-round pick that a lot of people didn't even want on their roster.
Yeah.
I think you cannot say that enough. Now, the flip side of it, where does it go? You and I both have said, although we're having fun with the Minshew Mania, we both said earlier in the week, and I'm not sure this has changed my mind. I need a little bit more evidence. Reality can set in a hurry in the NFL. Reality is he's a 6th-round pick. Reality is he has not great arm strength. Reality is he's a little on the shorter side for a QB. Reality can set in a hurry in the NFL. So I think this is awesome. I think this is a lot of fun. I think ride the wave as long as you can. That was an awful loss on Sunday, yet we turn around 3-4 days later. We can have fun with the Jags playing football again on Sunday. I think it's great. I just think we have to get more evidence. And I hope this wave can continue and the Minshew Mania can continue. And, oh, boy, if he does it again, if he goes to Houston and beats the Texans and he does it pretty much with the help of him and throwing to his receivers and leading this offense to 27 points or 30 points, well, this could get real fun in a hurry.
And what we have to talk about, too, a little bit here is the offense of John DeFilippo. You know, with John DeFilippo, it's almost like Groundhog Day for him, right? Because if you go back to Philly, when they had a star quarterback in Carson Wentz who's supposed to lead him to the promised land, well, Carson Wentz goes down. And now enter Nick Foles. Now, Nick Foles wasn't a rookie quarterback at the time. You know, he had some credentials when he was playing for Chip Kelly's offense. I think he had a Pro Bowl year that year, really tore up the league. But that was more, I think, of Chip Kelly's offense than anything. But you have a guy in Nick Foles who I don't think anybody really gave a shot to, and John DeFilippo orchestrated that offense around him. And we heard Nick Foles say that about John DeFilippo when he came here. He's like, the great thing about Coach Flip is the fact that he caters the offense to what you're really good at. And you kind of get that sense a little bit. And granted, you know, Gardner Minshew's a rookie. So how much of a rapport, you know, the OC and the rookie quarterback have together, time will tell. But I'm just saying, from an offensive coordinator standpoint, I think you have the right guy at the position right now that can cater to Gardner Minshew's strengths and then not really expose some of his weaknesses.
We're more Minshew Mania. We're not dressed like this for 10 minutes.
Oh, no.
We're dressed like this for 3 hours.
For the rest of my life, Brett, it's a lifestyle, I told you.
It's a lifestyle
This
change.
is a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle change for you. I'm going on TV tonight,
Dude,
okay? This is not a lifestyle change for me.
So, like,
It took me 10 minutes to get a text, by the way. What the hell are you wearing?
in my next fight, I could seriously see myself rocking a pair of jean shorts. Now, we have to sew the pockets together because you can't have open pockets.
You're not allowed to have open pockets.
No, because you get
that makes
finger
sense.
caught. But I'm just saying,
You're
man.
going jean shorts in the
Jean
cage?
shorts, it'd be better than those English tights that I was wearing for my last fight.
That was almost a wardrobe malfunction by you.
Bikini style, I know, that was ridiculous.
As long as you can get sponsors on the shorts, man.
Now we're talking.
We're rocking it.
Little ESPN 690 coming at you.
Hey, more Minshew Mania, but Todd Wash talked today, said some things, including live tackling today at practice. How much of a problem do the Jags have, or is it a one-off deal? More Todd Wash, more Gardner Minshew, more Jags, little fantasy football, Ryan O'Halloran later on. I don't know what he looks like, but he probably doesn't look like this. It's all next and more on ESPN 690 here on a Thursday. Thanks for hanging.
Action Sports Jags with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Warm and humid, partly sunny today with a few brief showers and highs in the mid to upper 80s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. The greater Jacksonville area Cadillac dealers Action Sports Jax Dream 18 is just around the corner. September 16th at the Golf Club at Southampton. Thanks to our presenting sponsors as well, the law offices of Ron Scholes and the Players Championship. Your business can still be a part of the event to raise money for St. Michael's Soldiers and North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors is challenging local businesses to donate $1,000. Join the $1,000 charity challenge at actionsportsjaxdream18.com. Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jax. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you. Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Peace of mind only a click or phone call away. 904-507-4777. Or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Hey, boss, you're not gonna believe this.
What now?
Remember Frankie, the guy we've been showing the ropes to?
Who?
You know, our protege.
Oh, yeah, Frankie. The next generation of crooks making us proud.
Yeah, not so much. Boss, he just got busted.
Hey, what?
Yup. Cops caught him. He was, boss, you might want to sit down for this.
Uh-oh. Sounds serious.
Yeah, they caught him breaking into our warehouse.
Ooh, that little weasel. Of all the places to break into, he chose our warehouse. You just can't trust anyone these days.
Yeah, and he knew we had Safe Touch security monitoring the place with the two-way communicator, the video monitoring.
Huh. Serves him right for breaking rule number 1 in the Crooks R Us handbook. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security System. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
The Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Mets go head-to-head at Citi Field. Saturday at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Presented by Indeed.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the iHeartRadio app.
Anytime Leach tweets about you, that's pretty cool, because he lives for that. But yeah, just seeing, all the former coaches and players, guys that I've been around, who've seen kind of everything, kind of the road to this point. The guys that have done it with me, getting those messages from them has been super cool.
You got to figure Gardner Minshew's phone blew up on Sunday night into Monday. Mike Leach, the head coach of Washington State, who coached him last year in college, was on with us yesterday on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and said he texted him. And, it was interesting, Leach. He was a very fun guy and very kind of laid-back dude, right? Similar to Minshew. He even acknowledged in that interview with us, he said, yeah, we got along pretty good. They're guys that are comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
But he said he wasn't surprised by this. Really wasn't shocked, like the rest of everybody.
Yeah.
And obviously, if your coach believes in you and your coach knows who you are, and some of those things aren't going to surprise, but still think it's worth mentioning. And we'll hear from Coach DeFilippo a little bit later, the offensive coordinator of the Jags, just how difficult to do what Gardner Minshew did is in the NFL, especially at this level coming in, and especially as a rookie, and not one that's really heralded. You got to remember that part. If Dwayne Haskins goes into the Washington game, people wouldn't be as surprised if he goes 22 or 25. They'd be like, whoa, wow, look at this guy. But they wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
When you're a 6th-round pick, when Dak Prescott did what he did, when Russell Wilson did what he did, those are the guys we keep bringing up.
Of course.
People are surprised initially because – well, you didn't really have that expectation. If you did, it would have been a 1st-round pick and a top 5 pick. And I'm saying stop the car a little bit on that. I'm not trying to get Gardner Minshew to there. I'm just isolating the one performance and the starting performance. And we'll see where it goes from here, okay? I'm not trying to get carried away and compare Gardner Minshew to Dak Prescott and especially Russell Wilson. But I do think there's just a different expectation when you're picking the 6th round for a guy coming off the bench in the situation he came off in the opener 10 minutes into the season than there is for maybe one of those guys.
And I think when we're talking about, I'm going to say this again, Brent, and I probably average, I don't know, right around 30 times a pop now, 30 times a week saying this. But if you look at Dak Prescott's situation, if you look at Russell Wilson's situation, what do they have in common? They were able to run the ball, and what were they able to do? Stop the run. They had good defense as well.
Yeah.
And I think if you have that, you have an opportunity. You have a chance. And I think if you look at this Jaguars defense, who underachieved against Kansas City, and you look at Leonard Fournette, who seems to have turned over a new leaf, who seemed to take it upon himself to grow as a football player, to grow as a professional, I think you have a chance then of winning ball games.
You know what's super refreshing around here?
What's that?
Been around here a long time now. I mean, a relatively long time, dozen years or so covering the Jags. And first of all, it's the first time I've ever done this. And secondly,
worth the wait.
I don't think we have too many times in the last 12 years that we have talked about an offense that we're excited about. You know, we're even with the quarterback that you spent $88 million, and you're talking about them like, I can't wait to see them again. Now, again, levels of excitement. I'm not sure they're going to go out there and win 6 games in a row with Gardner Minshew at the helm. It would be better probably to have Foles from a football standpoint, right? We all agree with that. I mean, the guy's 30 years old. You paid him $88 million. There's a reason you did that. They'd be better off with Foles. But it's the other stuff that you just mentioned. It's Fournette. It's Chark. It's Conley. And then there's a flip side to it. The reason why we're a little bit more maybe excited or looking forward to the offense playing is we're a little bit scared and want to pull this bandana over our eyes and wonder what the hell that defense might look like on Sunday after what they just did on Sunday, and they're a little bit banged up. Here's the good news. Calais Campbell comes back to practice. Todd Wash said, I was over there today, he said Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue with the hamstring, and he did something to that hamstring on Sunday against the Chiefs. He expects to have those guys on Sunday. So that's a really good sign, even though Ngakoue continues to miss practice. So we'll see where he's at. I don't know if that's a definite. Doug Marrone didn't say that, but Todd Wash said he expects. That was the quoted word, expects to have them on Sunday. Marcel Darius, I don't think I'll see him on Sunday. That thing is obviously more serious than anybody.
Are you surprised that we haven't heard more about Marcel Darius? So, like, what's going on exactly? Or is it just that's kind of Doug Marrone's MO where you don't really reveal too much?
Yeah, I saw him today, and he had a brace of some kind. It wasn't like a sling, but it was something that was wrapping that elbow. So something's bothering him there way more than anybody, I think, anticipated a few weeks ago. And I mean, they are quiet in the preseason on injuries, so they don't have to say a lot. So maybe that's a little bit of it. But if you had asked me 3 weeks ago, I'd been a little surprised if you said 2 weeks into the season, we haven't seen Marcel Darius on the football field yet because of that elbow. I didn't anticipate that being this much of a problem. And maybe I just didn't ask enough questions about it. But he looks like he'll be out again. So they'll have to live with what they got. They should have Calais Campbell, obviously Josh Allen, the rookie, and they hopefully will have a 100% or close to 100% Yannick Ngakoue. Hamstring's not an injury you really talk about a lot with the trench guys, but Cedric Ogbuehi has one, and now Yannick Ngakoue has one. Sure. Kind of an odd injury for a trench guy, isn't it?
I mean, being a trench guy myself, I had a couple of those hamstring injuries. Yeah.
I'm trying to think back. Like, I don't remember a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, I can see more, I think, on the defensive side of the ball, because you think about it, Brent. I mean, it's all about the get off, right? It's all about the, like that cheetah stance where you get off the ball as fast as you can. Well, when you're doing that, it uses a lot of hamstrings. And I'm not trying to make up excuses saying it was a hot game this past Sunday, but that might have something to do with it too.
It was a hot game.
I mean, it was a hot game, but I'm saying I'm not sure if that has a correlation to more of like the hamstring and quad injuries, things of that nature. But they're more common than you would think, actually, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, the offensive side of the ball, I guess it depends kind of what happens. You know, like if you get rolled back on somebody, that could be a possibility. But I think just, getting your stance and stepping a couple, inches wouldn't really have an effect on your hamstring.
Well, if you're running, I mean, you do sprints or something like that, maybe you hurt it.
There you go.
Whatever. But, okay, let's talk more about the defense, man. Todd Wash took full accountability. He said, it was interesting what he said, and we'll hear a little bit of Todd Wash later on. But he said he tried to get too cute. He said some of the calls were too cute. He tried to do too many things to disguise maybe, and too many things of that out of the character of what they do as a defense. And some of those things really blew up in his face because there were mistakes made on it because they don't used to doing it. So he took accountability. That doesn't mean you have to stop hammering him or criticizing him. He's taken a lot of heat this week, and probably rightfully so. He even admitted that to a degree today. But does that surprise you a little bit that they tried almost too many wrinkles, tried to maybe outsmart themselves against Kansas City?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I came into the week saying that if you wanted to be Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you had to confuse them. And there's a fine line between confusion and getting too cute. You can confuse an opponent, but you can still kind of do like the same things you've always been doing. You don't have to go with all these exotic things if you don't want to. But I think when you have a young team, especially in this, at center field, when you have the safeties you're talking about, they're fairly young, a little bit of inexperienced. You have a pretty, I don't want to say young linebacking core, but Quincy Williams is a rookie. Miles Jack has been around for a little bit, but when you have a rookie in Quincy Williams and then you have a defensive line who's dominant, we keep hearing that Jalen Ramsey and Boye are the best tandem in the NFL. And when I hear that, that tells me you should play a little more man or at least play a little more press. And then you can go off of that. Because if you do that, that shows that you have faith in your team. You're not telling them, listen, we have to go run a cover 4 now. Let's go do a cover 1. No. Just say, you take him. I have confidence in you guys. And listen, confidence goes hand in hand. I mean, if you're a player, you have to earn the trust of your coach, right? And if you're the coach, you have to trust your players as well to do the right job. But I think throwing it up to a lot of exotic things maybe when they weren't ready, and that's something you can kind of get a feel for the week if you're the defensive coordinator, like, listen, we're running these plays, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Well, that's when you change the script a little bit. And I get it. You know, if you're going through a walkthrough or if you're going through like the Kansas City Chiefs looks during the week, it's not going to be the game tempo, right? Like, I don't care what the scout team was bringing to the table. It's not going to be what the Chiefs are bringing to the table. So,
there. Like in Todd Wash's mind, they have a 4x100 relay team.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I mean, and he's probably not too far off, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Even look at Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy's comments about that offense. He's like, this is unbelievable.
So, you know, it's under my opinion where, you definitely want to confuse the offense that you're going against, but at the same time, let your players make the plays and have confidence in them, because guess what? From all what we're told, they're great players.
Well, and not only that, it's what this principle of this scheme is. Like it or not, if you don't like it, that's fine. You can critique the scheme. But this scheme that has been pretty prevalent now in the NFL over the last 6 years, and Seattle made it really popular, the idea of it is to be simple, play fast, and not outsmart and outthink. And now the criticism is not enough disguise. We've talked about it. You even called for maybe a bit more disguise. And we even wondered and talked a lot about it. Okay, with Josh Allen, now you can do a lot of different things. But my question yesterday and earlier this week was, can you do a lot of different things if you don't have all your parts? And that's Marcel Darius, who isn't in there. Yeah. And you don't have a lot of trust in Taven Bryan right now. So can you do all those different things? So I don't know which one it is, but this has been a top 5 defense the last 2 years. It was an elite defense a couple of years ago. I don't know if I'd get too far away from that. I understand the league catches up and people can figure things out. So a wrinkle here and a wrinkle there. But I think what Todd Wash was basically saying today is I got to be careful to outsmart myself. I mean, there's a base of this defense that has been very effective in the NFL and effective here in Jacksonville for a while with these kind of players. You've got to be a little bit careful to outsmart yourself. And maybe they caught it in time, although I do think we'll still see wrinkles. They might need all their players back to do the wrinkles they practiced for the last few months.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the last thing you want to do is implement something new or like a different kind of look. And then you also have to teach the guys that are playing maybe like a new position how to do that. You know, for instance, Josh Allen playing that big end spot. We'll see what happens.
That was not the idea a month ago.
But to be fair, though, and listen, we didn't see a lot of Kansas City with a tight end on the line. You know, so I think maybe Wash may have underestimated a little bit where he wasn't expecting to see so much spread. Now, yes, this is a spread-first NFL, but I can't even remember if I even saw Travis Kelce line up as a true tight end. I feel like he was always split out or some kind of in motions, things like that. So from that perspective, you know, because you have to still implement your base defense, which they did. We saw it all training camp. I mean, we may have not even saw the base defense this past Sunday because they couldn't use it because everybody was spread out. So I think it was a matter of maybe they underestimated what Reed was trying to do as well. Now you're going to have a Houston Texans team that's going to look a little more what you're accustomed to seeing. You know, they're not afraid to spread things out a little bit, but they have a true tight end. They like to run the ball a little bit. And from that perspective, I think that's where the defense can kind of rebound and kind of gather their bearings because they're going to see what they've seen a lot more during training camp.
If you were in that locker room and playing on this defense, which is a talented defense, has a lot of swagger to it, sometimes maybe too much swagger to it.
Never too much swagger, Brent.
Well, if you start throwing punches, it might have a little too much swagger.
Well, it's not really
the difference between swag and discipline. Maybe.
Yeah, there we go.
But if you're watching that tape this week and you're in the practice field, how locked in are you? How worried are you that, oh, no, maybe we've lost our fastball a little bit. Maybe we don't have as many. Maybe we lost Tayshaun Gibson and Telvin Smith, and that's too much. Are there any of those things that enter your mind as a football player as you watch that, as you played on that field Sunday, as you watch the tape Monday, and you get back to work looking at Houston?
Listen, it's going to stick with you a little bit. You know, I mean, every NFL coach is going to tell you the same thing. Or every defensive coordinator is going to tell you the same thing. Play next play. We're on to Houston now. I get that. But at the same time, I think you're dealing with that defense that is super prideful, you know, that takes great pride in what they're doing. And let's be honest, they got embarrassed by a Kansas City offense. So that's going to linger with them. Now, you could either take two choices here. You can either blame the guys maybe in the back end and say, listen, you guys cost us the game. The communication wasn't there. Or you guys can work together and say, yeah, all right, we had one bad game. We're playing a Houston Texans offensive line that is very vulnerable. Defensive linemen, we're going to do our jobs. If you guys do your jobs in secondary, we'll get 10 sacks and, you know, cause some fumbles, and we'll be all good. So I think it helps going into this week knowing that Houston's not going to bring to the table what Kansas City brought, and that's going to build your confidence up a little bit.
It's Minshew Mania Day here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We got it. Do you have it too? Come on back and join us for more Minshew talk, and I want to specifically ask you, Are we getting a little crazy if I even say, should we get excited about some of these offensive players? Are you excited about DJ Chark and where this could go? Chris Conley. They haven't even unleashed a guy like Marquise Lee as he continues to get back. And Dede Westbrook, although he had a touchdown, had a quiet day.
Yeah.
Is that too sunshine and rainbows to get excited about some of their parts on offense? Let's talk about it next on ESPN 690. Of course, you're more than welcome to jump in on the conversation, either on social media or star 690 is the phone number to jump in.
Sunshine and rainbows.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The New York Jets just found out their starting QB will be out for a while with mono. Darnold will have to sit while former Broncos quarterback Trevor Siemian leads the team. Meanwhile, Jacksonville is adjusting to life without Nick Foles as starting QB Gardner Minshew talks about the idea of respect on a football team.
You know, I learned a lot of things, going to different schools and learn the right way to step in and try to lead. And that's through going in and earning respect and not demanding respect, earn it, with how you work, with your study habits, everything like that, instead of just going in and talking and being loud. So that's been one thing that's served me well, I feel like, through my whole career.
The Jags play the Texans this Sunday at 1 p.m. And the Cleveland Browns took immediate action against a fan that doused a player from the opposing team in beer. But in true Cleveland Browns fashion, they banned the wrong guy. The man they accused was the DJ at a wedding at the time. The manhunt continues for the actual beer dousing assailant. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st, and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
At Planet Fitness, you can join a great gym for just 25 cents down, so you don't have to flip a coin between quality and price. You get both. Tons of equipment or free fitness training? Both. Great price or clean environment? Yep, both. Join Planet Fitness for 25 cents down and $10 a month with no commitment and get a great workout at a great value. Join in club or online at planetfitness.com.
Flash sale extended. Hurry, 25 cents down, ends Tuesday, September 17th.
See club for details.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. It was a lot of fun playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 3 years, and I'm having just the same amount of fun on the radio every single day with ESPN 690. So I'm reaching out to you to be part of our team and grow your business with ESPN 690. Give us a holler at 245-8732. That's 245-8732. We look forward to hearing from you and hope you join the team.
Over 300 children in Northeast Florida are currently undergoing cancer treatments. 84% of families whose child is tackling cancer will experience some level of financial hardship. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, which is represented by the Gold Ribbon. Find out more about how you can go gold with the Tom Coughlin J Fund to help our neighbors and community members tackling this devastating disease. Visit tcjfund.org/go gold for more info.
The Sickle Cell Disease Association Northeast Florida chapter will be hosting their annual 5K walk Saturday, September 14th at 8 a.m. at the FSCJ downtown campus. Whether you're a group, organization, team, business, or individual, please come join us. That's September 14th at 8 a.m. at the FSCJ downtown campus. Get more information and register now at sicklecellnefl.org or visit eventbrite.com and search for Sickle Cell 2019 Walkathon.
Game of Thrones, the live concert experience, is coming to Jacksonville at Daly's Place on September 20th, and ESPN 690 has your chance to win tickets to the show. So head on over to the contest page at ESPN690.com to enter for your last chance to win a pair of tickets to the Game of Thrones live concert experience.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
When you play somebody in the AFC South, it's a big game. You know, our goal is obviously to win the AFC South every year. So this is the start of that. Obviously, we know we didn't play well. You know, obviously, Mr. Obvious, right? It's a situation I think you can see a level of focus, but we had it last week too. For me to stand up here and say I seen that coming, that'd be crazy. We just didn't play well. Once again, it comes back to me to get them ready. But they're ready to play. It's going to be a big game. They're very talented on offense, obviously with Hop and Watson, and their two backs, the way they ran on Monday night was very, very impressive. So it's going to be a good challenge once again for us defensively.
Well, that's Todd Wash, Jaguars defensive coordinator, and at least for this week, an embattled defensive coordinator, because that was not a good performance on Sunday against Kansas City. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. We don't normally look like this if you're watching the video feeds, but this is Minshew Mania Day.
Yeah.
Halloween comes early.
Well, this is Minshew Mania Day, and this is me on the weekends.
Like I said, I think it's fair to point out that this is not far out of character for Austin.
Felt pretty comfortable, not going to lie.
I mean, you guys are going to be hanging out sooner or later.
The only thing I'm worried about, I'll be truthful, I was hesitant to wear the white T-shirt because I brought lasagna for lunch today, and I can spill.
Splash problem there.
But you know what, Brent? Even if I did splash in my shirt on this brand new white tall tee, if I splashed on it, I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm not going to be ashamed of it.
Did you go to like Lululemon for that?
The shirt?
Yeah.
This is Old Navy.
There you go.
Shorts? Hey, Brent, shorts, Old Navy.
Oh, that's right. See, you get cool stuff like that at the Old Navy Banana Republics of the world.
See, they're distant cousins.
Family,
Brent,
man.
They're distant cousins. Let's not put Old Navy compared to Banana Republic, please. My people don't hang out with you people. Hey, take that for how you want to take it.
By the way, if I had said that, that would not have been greeted very well.
We'd be off the air right
now. You people.
Yeah.
Let's get back. I want to get to the offense and the receivers.
Yeah.
But somebody did ask about discipline a minute ago, and I think he actually wanted to talk about it yesterday. We might not have got to it. So a little bit more on discipline and the penalties. Like, whose fault is it? Whose fault do you believe it is? Is it coaching, or is it just players out of control? And I guess is there somewhere, and I don't want you to sit on the fence on this necessarily, but I'm sure at some point it's easy to say, well, yeah, it's a little bit of coaching and probably not enough repercussion or whatever it might be if they do it. But how much really? If you had to put a percentage, which one would be more over the 50% line? Would it be on coaches or would it be on players?
So I'm going to speak in very big generalizations here because penalties can come in all shapes and sizes, right? Some penalties can come from being fatigued. Some penalties can come from being too aggressive. But overall, if we're going to blame the coaching staff on the penalties, I would probably say 60% falls on the coaching staff and 40% falls on the players.
That much for the coaching staff?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, and listen, once again, this is really big generalizations because there's a lot of penalties out there.
Yeah.
But penalties come in the shapes of technique and form, usually. Pass interference, illegal hands to the face, all those kind of penalties, those come from your technique. Well, practice is when you have to sharpen up your technique a little bit. And if a coach isn't, especially a position coach, if they aren't harping on you, for instance, Joe Cullen, another Joe Cullen story real quick. So in my rookie year, I had problems with my first step. And literally what that meant is when I took my first step, when I'm getting ready to play the run, I stepped like an inch outside as opposed to stepping straight ahead. Drove Joe Cullen crazy. I had to literally stay after practice every single day and take 100 steps just over and over and over again, just small mundane steps until I got that in my mind that, listen, I can't false step. Well, it'd be like the same thing for, playing the pass. If someone's going out on a go route, how to handle that guy. It'd be the same thing for, if you're pass setting, where to put your hands and things like that. Because I think sometimes when guys get fatigued, they go back to old tendencies. And it's your job as a position coach to crush those old tendencies, especially when guys get tired. So you have to hold guys accountable. You have to watch guys with a microscope and say, hey, listen, your hands aren't good right here. Let's do it again. Let's get those hands right. Or, name the position. So I think from that perspective, and once again, big generalizations, but I'm going to say coaches account for about 60% of it.
Wow, it's interesting because I would say no. I don't agree with that. But again, this is me. You played the damn game. I didn't. And you played at this level.
Yeah.
But I would just say, are you kidding, man? I mean, guys they're taught all these things from Pop Warner football up. You have to be able to control yourself. And I guess to be a little more specific, and I know you just spoken to generalization. I mean, listen, Calais Campbell, he's great, but he had an offsides. He jumped offsides. There were like 3 offsides in a matter of 10 minutes, it felt like, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those are different. See, I know the fans would get upset with that after a while, but I think the ones of fans, obviously the Miles Jack situation, I continue to say in defense of Miles, although it was not right and all those things that we said on Monday, it's just a one-off thing. He has not proven to be like that all the time. But I think fans get irate about those kind because it wiped away a sack, wiped away a fumble, pushed him out of field goal range, all this other stuff. I mean, it was a key moment in the game. But the other one is a guy like Ronnie Harrison. A guy like Ronnie Harrison who is kind of taunting and using those things. They're like, I just don't understand how that could be on a coach. Like everybody in their mother knows you don't do that stuff. You can't cross the line. And those are bigger penalties than jumping off sides most of the time for a 5-yard penalty.
Well, exactly. And listen, you can't teach a player like, hey, remember if they score or if they get close to the end zone, don't talk smack to them. Like you're not gonna, as a coach, you're not gonna say that. And I dislike the fact that it was called a taunting penalty because that makes it seem like Ronnie Harrison was like celebrating. Like he was like, maybe saying something derogatory, whatever it was, to the fact that, the Jaguars just made a good play. He could have said something regardless of whatever it was. It doesn't mean he was taunting the opponent. It just means he maybe used some foul language, But unfortunately,
there are levels of it.
But unfortunately, it gets grouped in with taunting. So people immediately think, well, why is he celebrating when the Jaguars are down by so much, whatever. But yeah, those are the penalties right there, Brent, where if you're a head coach or you're a position coach or whatever, when those mistakes happen or if you see them even happen in practice, you have to nip that in the bud ASAP, and I think where people got a little nervous was especially with the Miles Jack situation when he gets ejected from the game. Well, Doug Marrone comes into the press conference and basically says, I'm not sure what was said out there. I don't really know what happened. I mean, what you'd want to hear the coach say is that's unacceptable. That's not what we do here because you want to reiterate the point. You want to drive the point home that if you're a player, you cannot do that. And the only way to do that is to reiterate the point where you messed up. Now, we said before, maybe Doug Marrone got on Miles Jack behind the closed doors and probably chewed him out in front of the team, not in front of the cameras. So be it. But I'm saying when you have those type of penalties, you can't be a player's coach anymore. You have to address the team and say, we're not going to accept this.
Yeah, and again, behind closed doors, I'm sure he did. I don't want to, you got to figure
here's the thing, Brent, we're going to find out. Because if the same thing happens again, then we'll probably assume that he didn't do it, and then the questions have to be addressed even more.
Quick hitters on defense. You played in the NFL. How many, you got in a fight with Evan Britton every day in practice. How many personal foul penalties can you remember getting in the NFL?
That I actually got called for?
Yes.
Being serious.
Because, that's a part of it, man. You got to know what you're supposed to get away with and stuff. That's okay.
Listen.
You think Jalen Ramsey gets away with some stuff? Sure he does.
There was a couple.
That's part of it. You got to be smart about it. That's my point. It's on the players sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to come on here and, especially if there's kids listening, I'm not trying to promote this or campaign for this. But yeah, there was times, especially against Tennessee, when there'd be a giant pile on a goal line and maybe I got to eye gouge him because I got an eye gouge done to me first. So I was retaliating. Obviously, I didn't get caught for that. Man,
that was getting you prepped for the MMA.
It was. Eye gouging all day. Call me John Jones. Little MMA joke there for everybody. Man, as far as the personal,
how about this?
No, you know what? It wasn't a lot because you know why? Because Joe Cullen would, and we keep bringing him up, but it's the truth.
You're afraid of that guy. He's just a little guy. You can handle him, man.
I could share. I can't share a lot of stories that I have of him, but no, I wasn't going to cross that dude. And because you knew if you got a personal foul like that, if you did something that stupid, number one, you'd come out of the game. You're not going back in, regardless if you got ejected or not. And number two, you'd be made an example of. So. I think, it was a little more, I don't want to say it was a little more disciplined, but I think it was a little more of a intense kind of psychotic culture, if you will, and where you didn't want to do that.
With all due respect, though, there are some guys you wouldn't take out of the game in that situation, or at least you'd put them back in. You're not going to take Jalen Ramsey or Miles Jack or Calais Campbell or one of those guys out of the game.
You're going to take Puz back out of the game back in the day. If you
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's different variations like anything else. Do you remember the most penalized you were in one specific game, whether it was personal fouls, offsides, whatever?
So preseason Chicago, this is funny. So Chicago Bears preseason, we're playing Jacksonville. And I'll never forget this.
So you were a little amped up.
Hey, because Zach Miller's on the team too, right? And me and Zach Miller are pretty good friends. So I remember coming out of the tunnel, and me, man, I'm an emotional player, and I'm turning to Zach, and I'm like, yo, Zach, they didn't want us. They didn't want us in Jacksonville. They didn't want us. Let's prove them wrong. So I'm like, dude, this is literally, Brent, this is the Super Bowl for me, okay? Preseason game, I think number 2 or number 3 is literally the Super Bowl of my entire childhood up until my adulthood. This is the biggest game of my life. And needless to say, came out a little too amped up and got 2 offsides calls right off the bat. Play number 1, play number 2. Offside. Oh, yeah.
First
yeah,
two.
hey. Coach brought me to the sidelines. He's like, yeah, you're sitting out for a while. I'm like, yeah, rightfully so. But then, yeah, I never forget that.
Usually you get the first one, and you're like, all right, I'll wait a tick.
But
no.
But I came back in, and I can't remember, was O'Shaughnessy there in 2013? I forgot who the tight end was. But on the very next
not Mercedes
play,
Lewis.
No, not Mercedes. I would remember that, and I definitely would have been able
Not
to drive
Julius
him back.
Thomas?
Not Julius Thomas, but whoever the tight end was,
White guy?
tight end, white dude, yes. Hashtag no racist. But I literally came. I was in a six technique, head up on him, and I had the C gap, right? Well, I was so pissed off where I literally, I'm not exaggerating, drove him back 15 yards, didn't even go for the tackle. Just wanted to take the tight end and put him on his back because I was so ticked off because I got embarrassed by coach and everything. So, yeah, that was probably my worst game I ever played.
A little bit later on, Mash, about tackling in practice.
Sure.
Will that help? The Jags are doing that today.
Yeah.
Not to the ground, but a little more live tackling. That's unusual. You don't see that this time of year. Will they do that? How much of all that is based on the preseason, which we always go to, and how long does that last? How soon do you get accustomed to tackling? We'll get into the tackling, but I want to get back to the offense. Talked about the receivers. Do we have some stars that are about to be born in Jacksonville? Yeah, it's Minshew Mania. He might be born in Jacksonville as a star. But what about Conley, who's been waiting for this opportunity? What about DJ Chark? Had a big game on Sunday. And then what about D.D. Westbrook? Does he get more involved? Are you excited about the receivers? That's next on ESPN 690.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Florida. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Hey, everybody, this is Austin Lane. I used to wear number 92, and while it's a great number, 94 just might be better.
That's because Vida de Luis recently got a 94 rating. Hey, this is Brent Martineau. Vida de Luis is a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste.
For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com.
Must be at least 21 to drink. Drink responsibly.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
I think it's time to let go.
Top-ranked Clemson at the Syracuse Orange. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. Presented by Goodyear.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Cleveland has had to deal with a lot of Odell talking about his ex. Like, everyone's had that relationship where the person you're dating can't stop talking about all the stuff they don't like about their ex. But meanwhile, they're still always talking about them. Like, Odell has been at Cleveland Brown for a while, and we've heard him say, moving on, you keep hearing this guy talking about his ex, and it probably being hard to hear for Cleveland. Like, yeah, they sent me here to die. It's like, well, we had already won some of these games at that point. Like, it wasn't going to be that bad.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
I'm Kevin Rahm, and this is Action Sports Jax.
Hey, welcome back, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Minshew Mania here on a Thursday as everybody gets excited for the Jaguars quarterback. But should we be getting more excited about the Jaguars wide receivers? Finally, do we have some breakthrough moments coming for this wide receiving core? Remember now, if you go back, it was Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns and Marquise Lee. There was reason for excitement. If you go back before Allen Robinson, his 1,000-yard season, it had been since 2005 and Jimmy Smith for a Jags receiver to get 1,000 yards. This team had waited forever. You could argue that Jimmy Smith was the most irreplaceable player in franchise history for about a decade. Mm-hmm. They could not find somebody to catch the football in an almost elite way. And not to say Allen Robinson was Jimmy Smith, but I'm just talking getting to 1,000 yards. Well, then all of a sudden they had Hurns, who had a 10-touchdown year. I think it was 8 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns. Then they had Allen Robinson, who had 1,000 yards. He looked very promising. Looked like he was going to be here for a long time. Even Marquise Lee was doing his thing, and you had some hope for Marquise Lee. That looked like good. It was good. Well, Allen Robinson, ACL. Then he goes away because of the big free agent contract to Chicago. Allen Hurns starts going downhill with injuries, goes to Dallas, now in Miami, fell off. Marquise Lee, of course, last year, hurt, misses the entire season. Well, in comes a guy like DJ Chark. You pick him in the second round. And I think everybody was, let's just see what happens. Didn't do much last year from a receiving standpoint, although he was very good on special teams, I always like to add. You bring in a guy like Chris Conley. You got Dede Westbrook in the fourth round a couple years ago. And Dede started to show last year that, wait a minute now, he might be kind of this breakout guy. Nobody's trying to tell anyone right here that this could be the next Julio Jones, Antonio Brown on the football field, A.J. Green, any of those guys.
Yeah.
But it looks like a decent collection of receivers for the Jacksonville Jaguars for the first time since we had a little bit of hope in the Hurns, A-Rob, Marquise Lee trio.
You know, and here's the thing. You said it, the group. Okay, because when you think of, the top wide receivers in the NFL, you think your Julio Joneses. You think of when he played Antonio Brown. And I think it's super rare, Brent, in the NFL these days. And this is a pass first league, by the way. But I think it's super rare to have three guys that can come at you. Now, yeah, it's not rare to have maybe a receiver at, like say for instance, the Saints. You got Michael Thomas, you got a good tight end in Cook, and then you got a good running back in Alvin Kamara. Those are three guys that can beat in the passing game. But it's very rare to have three receivers that can equally beat you just as bad. And I think that's what the Jacksonville Jaguars have right now, where if you're game planning against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we talked about it a little bit, I guess it was the Chiefs' plan to go on Dede Westbrook and make sure he doesn't, dominate your defense. So be it. Dede Westbrook, I think, had the most hype throughout the preseason and through training camp. I was more on the DJ Chalk bandwagon because I saw what he was doing. Chark was a guy that was getting all the red zone targets during training camp, and he was making some amazing catches. Well, we saw some amazing catches during the Chiefs. And then Chris Conley is kind of the unsung guy. He's a guy who's been around for a little bit, who was kind of underutilized in Kansas City simply for the fact that they didn't really need to use him because they had enough talent ahead of him. When he got his number called, even though it was few and far between, he did shine. It's just the fact that there was too many cooks in that kitchen. So now you have a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars who have three wide receivers who you have to account for each one. Sometimes on NFL teams, you can have two good wide receivers, and maybe there's a slack guy. You're like, we're not too worried about him. So be it. And sometimes that slack guy can burn you. But I think it's super rare, even in this pass-friendly league now, Brent, where you have three receivers that are very capable of dominating.
I agree with you, and I don't know. I don't want to get over, again, it's a little bit of overreaction. Dede Westbrook.
This is the Chiefs' defense we're talking about.
Yes, yeah. But I like it. I think you could see Chris Conley, by the way, has looked good. This isn't like a pie in the sky. I think it's pie in the sky when you come out of August and you're saying this couple weeks into the season, you maybe have 3 catches for 30 yards. But we saw it all preseason from Chris Conley. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that's been around, and you could certainly make the case that he was stuck behind some talent in Kansas City, right? Yeah. It's easy to be the 5th option, 4th option, even 3rd and a half option on Kansas City.
And he also had some injuries, too, in Kansas City.
So, and now you grow a little bit more. You're more mature. You know how the NFL works. All those things 5 years in. And now you come here and you have opportunity. And you know the quarterback, or he did, very well with Nick Foles. But the bottom line is, I think right now Chris Conley's showing us and proving us to say, hey, we can count on him a little bit in Jacksonville because he did it all August. We were out there, man. Mm-hmm. He got deep. He made nice plays. He was consistent in August, and he looked really good in game number 1. I think DJ Chark, he's going to have to show it to us more, but that was a hell of a performance for him coming into his second year in the NFL. And, again, playing with a guy that with Minshew and Foles both in the same game. And then I think Dede Westbrook is the known commodity. What I don't know is, does he take a step that makes him kind of a star across the NFL? Like, if you were to pick a guy in the beginning of the year, we might have done this on a show and said, hey, everybody's going to know this guy's name or see highlights on ESPN, NFL Network, all these kind of places throughout the course of the year. Yeah. He's going to be like the darling of the Jaguars. I would say Miles Jack, probably number 1, had that chance. I would even say, I thought, no, again, I'm just being honest with you the way I was thinking. I think even a Ronnie Harrison type of guy could have become that. Josh Allen, we know he was like a star of August. But on the offensive side, I would have picked D.D. Westbrook to be that guy, to kind of be the guy that transcends the Jacksonville market and Jaguars fandom and now becomes almost like a fantasy football star where people want to get him. So that's what the way I look at their receiving corps. So I think they're showing us something. And that certainly will help our man Minshew out coming this week in the next 2 months.
Well, and there's a reason why all the fantasy experts were on D.D. Westbrook. You know, you didn't really hear anything from DJ Chark. You heard very minimal from Chris Conley. It was all about D.D. Westbrook. And I guess rightfully so, because he's probably the guy that we would say is the one receiver.
Yeah.
Right?
You can do a lot with him.
You can do a lot with him. And we have to keep in mind, too, a guy we're not even talking about, Marquise Lee. I mean, when he comes back, I mean, I don't want to say it's going to be a scenario where there's too many cooks in the kitchen again, but you have to wonder, like, who's going to get all the reps, who's going to be out a little bit. I mean, I understand Marquise Lee come back from an injury, so they're going to ease him into it. But I'm talking, you know, if they're in week 12, week 13, you're playing for division, how do those reps get, you know, added up here?
He became a big possession guy for the Jaguars at times in the last couple of years. When you needed 3rd and 8, not last year, of course, he was out, but if you needed a 3rd and 8 play 2 years ago, you went to Marquise Lee.
Yeah.
Again, I think he's been miscast at times and therefore drawn the ire of the fan base because, hey, wait a minute, this guy's supposed to be a burner. He's supposed to be getting 20 yards a chunk. Yeah. He's supposed to be 74-yard play. Well, they haven't utilized him like that. They want to keep him run blocking. He's very good at that. And at times they've used him more as a possession guy on 3rd and 8 because that's all they trusted a couple of seasons ago to go make that play. We'll see how they use him as he comes back into form.
And listen, and I don't get ahead of ourselves here, Brent. It is the Kansas City Chiefs only 1 week, but this reminds you a lot of the Philadelphia Eagles back when they went to the Super Bowl, when you had guys like Nelson Aguilar, when you had guys like Torrey Smith, maybe not really household names, but they also had Alshon Jeffrey as well. But there's 3 guys at that time that could beat you. So it begs the question now. They have to keep on throwing to the tight end as well. Let's keep the tight ends involved a little bit and keep that defense honest. If you can do that, you have a shot.
I've got a bone to pick with you next about the Houston Texans.
Hit me with it. I can't wait.
It's coming up next. Minshew Mania rolls on a Thursday. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
Beard's Diamonds guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a GIA certified diamond in North Florida. Shop Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all 3. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
Welcome back to No Brainer. Gary.
I'll take cars and trucks.
What's the best way to protect your engine from gum, varnish, and corrosion?
Stay Bill 360.
Gasoline with ethanol can go bad in as little as blank.
30 days?
Using Stay-Bill 360 ethanol treatment year-round is what?
Is it a no-brainer?
It is! You win peace of mind, Gary!
Awesome! Can I have money?
Stay-Bill 360. It's a no-brainer. Available where fuel additives are sold.
Pros, when the job demands more of the supplies you use most, start with Lowe's. Because at Lowe's, we stock the right quantities you need for any size job. And at everyday savings, like up to 30% off drywall, drywall accessories, and insulation every day when you buy in bulk. Order at LowesForPros.com and we'll have your order ready for pickup with dedicated pro loaders to get you loaded up and back to the job site faster. For your next job and the next, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Jets quarterback Sam Darnold will be out indefinitely with mono. Trevor Siemian takes over as the starter. And head coach Adam Gase says in the long run, this could be a good thing for the team.
What's our attitude going to be? Is it going to be, woe is me, the sky's falling? Or is it, this is a challenge we're going to embrace? And guys just getting tighter in the locker room and everybody coming together and doing their job as well as they can to help us win.
Jets running back Le'Veon Bell missed practice today to get an MRI on his sore shoulder. The first game of Week 2 is tonight with the Panthers hosting the Buccaneers. Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert denies giving last year's Triple Crown winner Justify a banned substance. The New York Times reports the horse tested positive for scopolamine after winning the Santa Anita Derby, and that the failed test should have kept him out of the Kentucky Derby a month later. The Pistons signed 38-year-old Joe Johnson, who didn't play in the NBA last season. Johnson was the MVP of the recent Big Three season and led his team, the Triplets, to the championship.
The satisfying crunch of Nature Valley Crunchy Bars can keep your family going, which means more outside fun for you. And with whole grain oats and real delicious honey, it's really tasty too. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I've been very complimentary of Deshaun before when I talked about quarterbacks, and I said that he was going to be one of the best in the league, and I stand by that. I think he is emerging as one of the best in the league. He had an amazing game the other night, led their offense. I mean, I'm biased too. Like that's a good friend of mine. Like I talked to him last night. Crazy.
But you better pick him off on Sunday, Jalen Ramsey. Talking about Deshaun Watson. People are in love with Deshaun Watson. I will tell you this. Jalen Ramsey, I saw at a Florida State Pro Day years ago. He wasn't at the it was the year after he got drafted. Mm-hmm. And I was at Florida State Pro Day in Tallahassee. And we were kind of just talking to him off camera and asking him about different guys in the draft that were coming up. And he really loved Watson. Now, you know how you guys can get. That's your buddy. You think he's great.
Sure.
But he did really like him. Like to the point of somebody
I
he said,
remember.
I'm going to say this in a little bit out of context.
Careful.
Just to prevent the original context.
That's how you get blocked, Brent. Be careful now.
But I'm going to say it in more general terms. He basically said, if the team that gets Watson will end up winning the Super Bowl, is what he eventually said. He likes him. He liked him that much coming out of school.
Wow.
And if you remember now, the book was a little bit wishy-washy on Watson.
Sure.
Great leadership skills, but how will his game translate, all that stuff.
Winner. He's a winner.
Yeah,
That's
if
important.
you buy into Watson because of his leadership and his winner and it's all those kind of the intangibles, well, then you love him. And you will sell him down the river to anybody who wants to listen. You really will. But I think from the football standpoint, it was a mixed review on Watson. Well, he certainly delivered. We talked about him a little bit earlier. I wanted to come in there on Tuesday and say I think he's a bit overrated at times because of how much people talk about him, but then he delivered magic in the clutch again. So it's hard to say something like that. We'll see what he can do on Sunday. And a guy's been sacked a gazillion times, too, each and every year, it feels like.
Yeah.
But the point I want to get to is, do you think John Bachman's here? He looks a little nicer than us. Do you think...
That's debatable. No offense, John.
Do you think... You think the receiving core is unbelievable.
For the Texans.
Yes.
Correct.
You
yes.
put them on a high level.
I do.
I don't think they're as good as you think in totality. Like you think
I
they're
say
like
the wide receiving
like
core.
Kansas City B.
Yeah, a little bit, Brent.
Now listen, I think Hopkins is the best guy in the game.
Yes.
Okay, so you're off to a good start.
Great start.
I just don't know if I have as much respect because I think I need to see it. I get he's fast, but Will Fuller gets hurt every year.
No, I get
Kuti
that.
is okay. You love him in the slot, but it's okay. I mean, he's another player, man.
Key.
And Kenny Stills if Kenny Stills is your fourth guy, as a fourth guy, I understand. That's some serious depth. He's a good player.
He had a pretty good showing against the Saints.
I'm just sitting here telling you, and it's part of the reason I don't think Houston is as incredible as everybody thinks they are, is I'm not as high on all these players as some are. Like you love this receiving core.
So I should probably be a little more specific when I say receiving core. I love their wide receiving core, okay? I mean, in terms of their tight ends, they got Darren Fells, who came from Cleveland, and then Jordan Atkins, I believe. Yeah.
They probably lost a little bit at tight end.
I'll be honest. I don't really know a lot about those guys.
Used to have like Owen Daniels.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it was the Wisconsin pipeline for a while. I think they had Garrett Graham for a little bit. Yeah, it was, for sure. So,
and by the way, Bill O'Brien, those guys, we talk about DiFilippo and Brian, they know how to utilize those tight ends.
Well, and that was been the story of the Houston Texans since Gary Kubiak was there. It would be to use the tight ends, use the play action, run the ball with Arian Foster, whoever you had back there, and then get the tight ends involved with the play action. Because, and I'll give Kubiak credit for this, and I think O'Brien kind of implemented it a little bit, but now I think the offense is kind of changing where all their looks, Brent, whether it's like the zone stretch or whether it's the play action, like a boot pass to a tight end, it all looked the same. So from a defensive line perspective, we were trying to game plan. We couldn't really get a lot of tendencies because their O-line at the time was really good where everything looked the same. And when you're going against everything that looks the same, you're not really sure if it's going to be run or pass. So that was kind of hell the game plan for just because you know what was coming. But now, obviously, it's a new offensive line. But getting back to the wide receivers, yeah, I think 1 through 4 is some of the best, if not, the best in the NFL. I mean, obviously Hopkins, quote unquote, arguably maybe the best wide receiver in the entire game right now. And I think
he's probably underrated, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Will Fuller is a guy, and I get it, Brent, the injuries are there. But whenever you have a star one receiver and you can complement that, you can add that with a burner that can absolutely take the top off the field, you have a combination for success because now Hopkins can do every route in the route tree. Make no mistake about it. Fuller is that guy that can take you deep and it's not a big deal. So when you have those two guys, you can do a lot of different things because now if you do double team Hopkins, very cool. Check this out. Will Fuller for 88 and out the gate on a go route. So you can do that as well. And then you had Kiki Kuti in the slot last year. He kind of tore the Jaguars apart a little bit. I think every slot receiver tore the Jaguars apart. And then, like I said, Brent, Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills is a guy now who is super underrated. Kind of had some trouble with Miami a little bit because obviously there was some locker room issues with him. Mm-hmm. But when he's on the field, when he's focused, I think he's a great player and he's a guy you can do a lot of gadgets with. So from that perspective, yeah, I think the offense is pretty good.
Yeah, I know. Again, we disagree a little bit on this. And if they, I think even I just am not in love as much as everybody else is. I think even if you look at that game the other day, that everybody's talking about it. Wow. And you look up and they have 21 points. It's not like they've got 36 points. Now, again, they hit it late in the game. That was a little bit of, in most teams, you're not going to go down the field and score like that, like they did. That was a little fluky, is my point. But we'll see. I guess the other thing is the reason why maybe I downplay a team like Houston's offensive weapons is normally I like the Jags' pass defense. Mm-hmm. I like Jalen Ramsey on Hopkins. It's going to be a great battle. Hopkins will collect his, but I think Ramsey's going to get his too. Then you usually like Boye covering these guys or whoever else you want to add up. DJ Hayden quietly, I think, has been decent for the Jacksonville Jaguars going back to the last year. So, or maybe even better than decent, probably pretty good. And so I just don't mind the Jags matching up against teams. Now, Kansas City is a different animal. And I just feel like from a drop-off standpoint, there's a big drop-off we're talking about between weapons for Deshaun Watson and weapons for Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, but if we're going to do that too, let's take the running back into account real quick. There's a guy by the name of Duke Johnson who back in 2017 led the Cleveland Browns in receiving. Okay, this was a running back that did that. Duke Johnson is a great receiver out of that backfield. And we saw against the Kansas City Chiefs, a lot of miscommunications as far as the linebackers are concerned. So if I'm Houston, I'm getting Duke Johnson involved in the passing game as well. And I was a little worried about Duke Johnson, Brent, because obviously the plan going forward with the Houston Texans was you're gonna have Miller get the first and second down reps, then have Duke Johnson come in on third down, you throw him the ball. Miller goes down with, I think it was a season-ending injury, and they go to Carlos Hyde. And I'll be honest with you, when they signed Carlos Hyde, I was like, Houston, you better be careful.
Good luck with that.
But all things considered, against a very stout New Orleans Saints rush defense last year, Carlos Hyde performed very well.
He did.
And if he can run the ball, they get Duke Johnson involved, the Jaguars are going to have to mind their P's and Q's on this one. They really are.
Well, bottom line is any team, you have to make one-dimensional, right? They can't let Carlos Hyde run for 80 to 100 yards. That's going to be a long day because then it really eliminates what you can do from a pass rush standpoint. When you can be predictable and try to pass rush and bull rush that offensive line, well, then you got a really good chance. But if they're going to counter it with Hyde and nice balance, that's going to be a very difficult day for you.
But to be fair, the Chiefs didn't run the ball at all. You know, the Chiefs just passed the ball.
No, but they're different. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, and if I'm Houston, I'm seeing what the Chiefs did and saying, listen, do we maybe incorporate Duke Johnson a little more? Do we maybe, spread him out a little more wider than we're used to seeing? Do we maybe not use a tight end that much? I'm just saying from that perspective, if I'm Houston, I'm watching what Kansas City did. Now, that's not Houston's identity, right? But I'm going to be curious to see exactly if they stick to their roots, if they stick true, or if they go with what beat the Jaguars week 1.
All right, well, welcome in Action News Jack's John Bachman right now, who's joined the stash party, Minshew Mania,
Looking
underway.
good, man.
CBS 47, Fox 30 coming up at 5. I can't get away with this on TV, I don't think, and you probably can't either.
I know I can't. Hey, I've got some breaking news. Antonio Brown not expected to meet with the media today or the rest of this week in Foxborough.
Oh, shocking.
That's exactly what I tweeted. Shocking. Hashtag
me
shocking.
Because you have to pay a fine for that.
Yeah.
Good
These
call.
things are not comfortable,
so.
by the way. Oh.
The mustache?
No, not at all.
Hey, here's what I'm putting on social media right now.
Okay.
I think the Jaguars' offensive line should get off the plane in Houston looking
these?
like this.
Amen. I think that would be a fantastic
Austin
idea.
and I were talking about it in the break. Like, baseball teams do this.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine if, let's just go getting on the plane.
Yeah.
At JIA on Saturday afternoon when the Jags fly out to Houston.
Yep.
And Tom Coughlin's in the plane. And the offensive linemen come down.
Yeah.
I would love that. I hope that somebody has a video of that.
I'm seeing that. And listen, you have to ask the question like, hey, should we be focused a little more? Or are we too laid back? But at the same time, remember, and I'm not trying to knock the Houston Texans here.
You don't need to be focused walking on a plane. Come on.
That's a good point. But the Houston Texans did wear, like, remember when they had like their Letterman jackets that they all wore? Like, I think that's more ridiculous than wearing mustaches. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
Who wears Letterman jackets anymore?
That's a good point.
You probably never had one because you didn't play sports. Did you have one, John? John, did you have one?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Brent, I'm kidding, dude. Come on. I know you played baseball.
Now. That hurts.
That does hurt.
Brent, come on,
That hurts
Brent.
almost as bad as the stash.
You know what? That's fine. He had it coming.
Look at these. I mean, look at these guns. Do they look like somebody who didn't play sports?
Don't be honest. Did you have a Letterman jacket back in the day? You had one.
Nah, I really didn't. I didn't get it. It was it was past. I feel like my sister did. She was 3 years older.
Yeah.
And like in her class, they still were doing that.
I didn't wear it. I didn't wear it, but I had one.
She graduated in 92.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't wear mine either.
I graduated in 95, and I don't I remember some doing it, but I don't remember it being a thing.
No.
You know the old starter jackets like
Of
that the pitchers used to wear in the bullpens?
Yeah, those were cool.
You know, I actually got one of those in college.
Yeah.
I was surprised we got one. And of course, I've never wore it because it was purple. Our colors were purple.
Did it have like the stripes on the shoulder? Oh, dude, I want to see. So I want a Seattle Mariners one so bad, but
and it would be cool again.
Oh, of course.
But
Let's make it a
it
comeback.
didn't feel that cool when I was playing college baseball wearing that thing. It just didn't.
Fair enough.
So it's like some closet somewhere that we got. All right, Stash Man, what you got tonight?
Okay, well, I've got a story that is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We have a story coming up on Action News Jackson 5 about some employees at a I won't name the name. We're going to name the name at the newscast, but at a phone store who never sold any phones, but instead sold drugs in Jacksonville.
From the store?
From the store.
Wow.
Yeah. Big bust today, and it's kind of crazy. So that's coming up at 5.
How long did they do this?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer off the top of my head.
Wow.
But I'm sure we'll tell you coming up on at 5. The other thing, of course, not of course, but the other thing is Umberto is the name of the system that it would become Umberto. I just like to say,
by the way,
Umberto.
With these mustaches
right?
kind of feels right.
It's not a hurricane yet.
I'm sorry, the tropical
It's a tropical
storm.
system right now.
Okay.
It's expected to develop into a tropical storm or a hurricane.
Yeah.
Umberto. But anyway, this
Who's
thing
naming these things, by the way?
Well, they name them every year. It's
They have them like 5 years out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but this thing is developing near the Bahamas, not what the Bahamas needs. It's not going to be a hurricane likely over the Bahamas, but it's going to drop a lot of rain in places they probably don't need it, and some wind, and then it's going to come towards Florida. I mean, we don't know exactly where it's going yet. We have some ideas.
Yeah,
and
could cut right through the middle of the state, or could go out to sea on the East Coast, right?
It could go a similar path to Dorian.
Yeah.
It could cut across Florida and go into the Gulf. It could hit South Florida and move around. Anyway, so Bursch is going to be tracking that all day long. He's trying to pinpoint the track right now. He'll have the latest for us at 5 o'clock. But it looks like, it will have some sort of impact on us.
Yeah, and that's a
Sunday
big one to
evening.
watch personally because that will really impact how much rain we get this weekend.
Yes.
And Monday's the Action Sports Jack Stream 18.
Of course.
So I'm keeping an eye on that because if it cuts across the middle of the state, we'll get at least
get a lot of rain.
We'll get I think less rain across the middle, isn't it?
No, I think we'll get more rain
that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of
I must have read
of the
it wrong.
rotation.
I was rooting for the wrong thing.
Well, I mean,
you ever do that? You ever gamble on a game or bet on a game and then forgot the bet that you put in?
Yeah.
And so you're rooting for something to happen. You're like, damn it, I lost. And you look back
Turns
like,
out it's okay.
Shoot, I picked that team.
Yeah. That's what just happened. Because if it cuts across the state of Florida, you're going to get a lot of rain up here. And if it goes up Dorian, remember how much rain we had along I-95
that's
during
what
Dorian?
I figured, but I just read
It'll
it
be
wrong.
even less than that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
so
where
we're
we're
keeping
at.
an eye on another system.
Yeah.
This one kind of snuck in. Well,
No, they don't ever sneak in when you got Burrish on the watch now. Come on.
I know, but it formed later. I guess it's forming later. That's what I should say.
Well, we're not having a week and a half to dissect it. Yeah. That's correct.
That's good. That's not the new trend, thankfully.
Yes. Now,
we want as
Umberto
much
is going
heads
to be
up
more
as we
fun
can
to
get,
say
but-
than Dorian, by the way. Umberto.
Finding Dorian wasn't bad.
Yeah, we knew with Umberto.
Umberto. You got to roll the R. Umberto.
Very good.
Yeah.
With the mustache, it really makes a lot of sense.
Isn't that
like in this
isn't that a
outfit,
brand of-
Umberto makes a lot of sense.
Isn't that like a brand of beef jerky? Isn't there Umberto beef jerky?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, you
yes,
might be
there
right.
is.
Oh, my mouth is
Good call,
watering.
man.
I know.
That was like out of left field.
Of course he's bringing it back
Brent,
to food.
seriously, looking at you right now, you could choose some beef jerky. I wouldn't be surprised, man. Like you got the whole swag going on. So yeah, beef jerky.
Hey,
came to
before I
mind.
leave, and you can sign me off anytime, kick me out, but I need a picture with you guys so I can post it.
We'll do it. It's all about
the
social
whole
media.
experience.
Social media blowing up with Minshew Mania.
And the experience as well.
I compared him, by the way, real quickly. I tell me what you think about this. Last night I was talking with some people. A little, and this is going to sound crazy, but a little Favre-esque.
Yeah, I saw your tweet on that.
Don't you? What do you think?
I understand what you're saying.
I mean,
like
he's
that.
got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. I'm not kind of trying to go crazy on this, but just the swagger, the way he moves, the way he handles himself.
The reason people won't come with you on that bill and they'll shut you down sometimes because your arm strength of Favre was incredible.
Of course, the arm strength. Yeah, fair enough. I'm not talking arm strength. I'm really not. I'm just talking the
personality, more
moxie, and just the way he handles himself on the field.
Yeah.
The way he kind of just his swagger on the field. The way he throws from different angles. You know,
savvy and moxie are two of the best sports words ever.
Yeah,
He's got it in. Spades. He does.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Gardner Minshew gets in J.J. Watt's face and goes at him and says, "This is my game," like Brett Favre did with John Randall, then I'll be impressed.
Let's do it.
No offense to your Vikings or
Minshew
anything.
Mania rolls on Thursday. Check out John, Tanika, and Mike Burrish on Action News Jax, 5 o'clock, CBS 47 and Fox 30. We'll be back right after this.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Warm and humid, partly sunny today with a few brief showers and highs in the mid to upper 80s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Hey, what in the name of Lester Jackson are you doing?
Oh, hey, boss. Well, since these folks are out of town, I figured I had time to make a Sammy.
You what?
Yep, it's a peanut butter banana sandwich, just like Elvis.
Wait, when are the owners of this place getting back?
Well, the social media account says tomorrow around noon, so relax.
Huh. Well, don't leave a mess. That would be rude.
Boss, how is it possible in this day and age that folks like this don't have safe touch security?
Beats me. Seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, from the two-way communicator to the crash and smash technology to video monitoring.
Hey, if these folks had safe touch, we wouldn't be within a mile of this place.
And that's why we live by the Crooks R Us motto. Stay away from safe touch houses.
Yeah. Hey, pass the bread, will you?
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you'll pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. price. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander? It's not $35,500. Now it's only $24,888. That's $24,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota 4Runner? It's not $36,500. No way. Now it's just $28,888. Just $28,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota 4Runner at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Do you know a child that is deaf or blind? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine offers a tuition-free educational program to prepare the child for a lifetime of success. FSDB offers free comprehensive education, transportation, and boarding services at no cost to all eligible deaf or blind students elementary through high school, no matter where you live in Florida. Call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdb.k12.fl.us to find out more.
Help save lives from heart disease and stroke. Join the American Heart Association at Metropolitan Park on Saturday, September 21st for the First Coast Heart Walk. Visit firstcoastheartwalk.org.
The First Coast Heart Walk is sponsored by Main Street America Group, Mayo Clinic, and Florida Blue.
I think Carson Wentz is going to come back and have a resurgent year.
Are you not concerned at all with the lack of depth at quarterback position? They had to rely a lot on Nick Foles. Carson Wentz gets hurt every year.
Not every year.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, this is Dennis Anderson, the driver of Gravedigger Monster Truck, the baddest monster truck in the land. You're listening to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Yeah. He had a 99 overall rating on Madden. So that's like what? That's damn near unguardable on Madden, right? It's pretty much like that in real life too. It's tough. It's one of the toughest battles I have each year in and year out. We always have pretty good battles. Sometimes I hold him to less yardage, whatever it may be. But I know that, he's a tough guy to go out there and guard, play in and play out, or as much as I get the opportunity to guard him.
And that's Jalen Ramsey today talking about DeAndre Hopkins, who has really a lot of respect for. I think if you go over the years of players that he has respect for against on the field, is Antonio Brown going up against him, and DeAndre Hopkins are probably the two that he mentions the most. I'm not saying he doesn't have respect for anybody else. I'm just in conversations with Jalen Ramsey. Those are two guys where he's not really talking a lot of trash the week of, because he knows he's in for a battle. And some days he's fared better than others, like he said, but usually fares okay. What the great battles in sports are is when each can get theirs. And I think DeAndre Hopkins and Jalen Ramsey is that way. Like Hopkins is going to be targeted. They are going to throw to him anyway. When they're going to target him probably 12 times. They did 13, I think, last week, and he caught 11. I think they'll probably go 10 to 12 times, even against Ramsey, and a lot of people won't do that against Jalen Ramsey, and he'll catch 6 or 7 balls. So that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Now, what does he do with it? Does he catch 6 or 7 balls for 120, or does he catch 6 or 7 balls for like 70 yards? And on the 10, 11, 12 targets, that would be a pretty good day for Jalen Ramsey if you can hold that guy to 70 yards or something like that. I'm throwing out numbers, but you get my point.
No, absolutely. I think the last thing you want to do, especially with the first-year quarterback now, who just kind of got thrown in the fire a little bit, is give up the big plays, right? The last thing you want to do is give up the big plays if you're on defense to Hopkins or to Will Fuller or whoever else it is, because that way you're not giving your quarterback a chance. I think if you slow play a little bit, make Watson beat you, make that team beat you, then so be it. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're Jalen Ramsey, I think he understands this. Hopkins is going to make his catches. I mean, we saw it last season. Hopkins made some of the best catches that I've ever seen that season in the NFL. I think one of them...
That dude's got Velcro on his hands.
It's absolutely insane. And he's so unassuming because he's not like the most physically big guy, right?
No.
Like he's tall and everything, but he's got speed. He has the footwork and everything. So I think he's a little unassuming as well. I mean, standing next to him, you wouldn't get that kind of vibe, but just kind of seeing his whole makeup and everything.
He's not diva-esque, he's more AJ Green and Julio Jones from a personality standpoint than he is
more Andre
Antonio
Johnson.
Brown.
I mean,
right.
then pick your Houston Texans receiver. There you got Andre Johnson again, and I think, listen, if Hopkins was more of that flashy guy, if he was rocking the $300,000 watches during a game or anything like that, yeah, I mean, I think the guy would be a world-renowned star. Not to say he's not very popular, because he is, but I think he goes a little underappreciated. I think he goes a little below the radar just because of his personality.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, he should not have got flagged the other day for that.
Oh, the
tackle.
body slam?
That was ridiculous.
Love that.
But, I mean, it's in your mind, it's like when you tackle a guy like that, see, I don't think that's out of the realm. Now, if it's after a whistle or something like that, that's different. But if you're bringing a guy to the ground, sometimes you have to do that kind of wrestling move to get him down to the ground. Why is that a penalty?
First of all, he's a wide receiver. Do you think he's going through tackling drills every single week? Did you think he knows the proper technique of how to tackle? Probably not. Sometimes you have to use your full-grown man strength and take care of business, and that's exactly what he did. Yeah, I agree with you, Brent. The fact that he got flagged for that, it was a little ridiculous. I don't think it was with any malice or any, criminal intent. It was just the fact he had to get the guy down, his interception. What do you want him to do?
I don't even think if a defender does it, it should be flagged. Again, unless it's like so obvious. And that was not. That was keep the flag in your pocket on that one. All right, let's do some balling and falling. I'm going to begin it, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Did you see the box score? And I don't know where this lies in balling, but I just thought it was very interesting. The New York Mets are making a run back into the wild card race. They won again today, big actually. And they're right back there. I thought they were done.
Yeah,
and now here
so
they come
did I.
again. And now that National League race is incredible, even with your Milwaukee Brewers.
just won again today. They're on a 7-game winning streak right now.
Incredible. That's a nice little bounce after what happened to Yelich the other day. And it looked like they were out of it. Both the Brewers and the Mets were right out of it. So this is a little bit of combination of balling for those guys to get back in it.
Sure.
But also, did you see the box score yesterday? On 9/11,
I heard
Mets
about
won
this. Yeah.
9-0, and they had 9 runs and 11 hits and 0 errors in the ball game. Funny how numbers work sometimes.
You can't make that stuff up, right? It's just, it's wild,
I'm
man.
a sucker for that kind of thing.
Well,
It's like, man, that's wild, isn't it?
And I understand, when it comes to numbers, there's patterns and everything, right? But that's just, that's out of this world.
Yeah, I showed my kids. I said, look at this. I didn't even tell them. I just said, look, and they were like, whoa, it kind of jumped out. And we watched a lot of things on 9/11. I thought ESPN did this fantastic, probably hour-and-a-half show yesterday. And I don't honestly know if it was like a rerun from 3 years ago when they did it, and they just bring it back every 9/11. But it was about what happened in New York and how sports kind of helped everybody back together after 9/11. And it took the Rangers and the Knicks and the Giants and the Jets and the Yankees and the Mets and even had some NASCAR with I didn't remember this. Dale Jr. in the Budweiser car won the next race in NASCAR. So it was really pretty cool. Pretty cool thing that ESPN did. So we watched a lot of that. What you got for
Pretty
ball?
cool. Brent, I'm not sure what we're doing March 6th, but I said we take a field trip to Brooklyn for ESPN 690.
Okay.
Because the Brooklyn Nets are hosting, because this is the title of the whole thing. Marvel presents Dr. J as Black Panther. And basically what this is, it's a Dr. J bobblehead, but he's wearing the Black Panther, the superhero. He's wearing his kind of gear. Why they're collaborating, I have no idea. But if you see a picture of this bobblehead doll, Brent, it's worth the price of admission.
Do you want it?
It's worth the trip. Oh, do I want this bobblehead
Well,
doll?
then you just answered your own question. Why are they collaborating on it?
Yeah, because I
you
want it. There you go. Enough said.
There you go.
Yeah, basically, it's Dr. J with his big afro with the headband and everything,
That's
the
awesome.
short shorts, and then he's rocking the Black Panther chest piece. So,
How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Keep a guy like Dr. J relevant a little bit. That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Because it's a great point. You know what it does, Brent? And the next generation's coming up. They're going to Google him. They're going to YouTube some of his highlights and things like that, and then you can appreciate the history of the game. Respect.
Him and a guy like Dominique Wilkins might be two of the most underrated players of all time. Now, Dominique probably more so than Dr. J, and he wasn't as good as Dr. J.
True.
But Dr. J helped change the game of basketball, and I don't think gets as much love as all the Birds and the Magics and the Jordans and everybody else.
But I'll say this about Wilkins, though, at least he had the dunk contest to fall back on, right? I think people could recognize him a little more in the dunk contest. Not to say Dr. Day wasn't in one of those too, but I think Dominique's more known as the dunk contest guy.
Good point. All right, here's my fallen. How about the Jets? How about Sam Darnold has mono? That's so unusual to hear about that in sports, and he's out until week number 5.
I know.
I will say, I said this, we were doing our picks last night. We do our Take Your Pick podcast on Action News Jax, and we do it on Wednesday nights, Wednesday nights. Today's Thursday. And I said, the NFL got a little jumpy in their schedule making to put the Browns and the Jets on Monday Night Football. I don't know if it's a great game to begin with. We don't know. Can they prove a little something first? Like it feels like it should have been a flex game down the road.
Sure.
The Browns and even ESPN, everybody fell in love with the Browns really quick, in my opinion. But anyway, it's a blow to that game a little because now you don't have Sam Darnold, and I would think clearly the Browns have a big edge now Monday night.
Well, speaking of the Jets as well, Le'Veon Bell is the guy who's getting an MRI on his shoulder now, and all reports are indicating that he's going to be 50-50 to play the Browns now with his shoulder. He had MRI. The results have not come back yet, but not a good start to the Jets.
Not at all. Here's Adam Gase talking about the situation with second-year quarterback Sam Darnold.
They're doing all these tests on him and things like that and kind of figuring out the best protocol. I know his biggest concern is weight loss. That was something that was alarming to him, that he lost some weight already in the last couple of days. You know, he's meals over because he can't be in the building right now. So he's like, I need to get meals over here. I need to make sure that I'm getting enough of what I need, keep my weight. I mean, he went right into, all right, how do I maintain?
That's Adam Gase, the Jets head coach. Who's going to be a bigger flop? The Jets or the Browns? This is easy to say with Darnold, but I mean, Darnold will be back in a couple weeks, and one of those is a bye week, so he actually only misses 2 games most likely.
Yeah.
Who's going to be a bigger flop?
I think it's definitely the Jets just because from a talent aspect, I wasn't buying that Le'Veon Bell was going to come back and just tear the league apart like he did in Pittsburgh. I think that top to bottom, the roster of the Browns is better, so I'm going Jets all day.
If Bell gets hurt, what are the ramifications after skipping a year, getting a big contract, and then getting hurt? How much does that stop a little bit of player empowerment and what Melvin Gordon might even do and say, hey, I better get on the field?
Listen, teams are going to take notice of that. They have to, because I think Le'Veon Bell's the guy who, if I'm not mistaken, didn't miss too many games when he was in Pittsburgh. I don't
remember him missing a lot.
Say what you want about him. I think he was always there to play. So the fact that, and listen, we don't know if he's going to be out yet for an extended period of time or not, but if he is, teams have to take notice. How can you not?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit alarming. Speaking of, how about a little fantasy football?
Let's
An
do
update on what happened last week in fantasy football, because we got this thing going. There's a belt on the line. Oh, no, not a belt.
Well, it could be just like a basic belt, yeah.
Do we have like belts flying everywhere?
We do have belts flying everywhere.
And we got picks. We have a belt for that.
Yep.
Belt for fantasy.
There's a belt for that.
How about we just do bandanas? They're a lot cheaper.
Yep. And when we come back from the break, too, my fallen, I'm putting Taco Tuesday on blast.
Oh. You didn't like the trademark deal.
Oh, I can't wait to get into that.
Little LeBron James.
Who do you think you are, LeBron James?
And fallen on Minshew Mania Day because he's balling. It's next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The New York Jets just found out their starting QB will be out for a while with mono. Darnold will have to sit while former Broncos quarterback Trevor Siemian leads the team. Meanwhile, Jacksonville is adjusting to life without Nick Foles as starting QB Gardner Minshew talks about the idea of respect on a football team.
I learned a lot of things, going to different schools and learn the right way to step in and try to lead. And that's through going in and earning respect and not demanding respect, earn it, with how you work, with your study habits, everything like that, instead of just going in and talking and being loud. So that's been one thing that's served me well, I feel like, through my whole career.
The Jags play the Texans this Sunday at 1 p.m. And the Cleveland Browns took immediate action against a fan that doused a player from the opposing team in beer. But in true Cleveland Browns fashion, they banned the wrong guy. The man they accused was the DJ at a wedding at the time. The manhunt continues for the actual beer dousing assailant. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Our partners at BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country, would like to thank all of the coaches out there who truly are the heart of the game. While BSN Sports is the best at equipping athletes with a one-stop shop for everything needed to run an athletic program, coaches are the best at equipping lives. And that's the real final score. Learn more about how BSN Sports can save you time off the field so you can impact more lives on it by calling your local BSN Sports sales professional or by visiting bsnsports.com today.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin of Action Sports Jacks. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st, and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, and it can be your golf destination. The Golf Club at Southampton. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. The Golf Club at Southampton is where I play a lot of golf, and you can too. Enjoy your golf experience by calling 287-PLAY. Play some golf, watch some football, and oh yeah, food. They've got that too. Southampton has it all. Even a special tailgate catering menu. Give Lisa a call for your tailgate catering. 287-PLAY for tea times, football, and food at the Golf Club at Southampton.
We're local. You're local. Shop local. This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
Shop the 904.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations, or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Thank you for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. Everyone is loving our in-depth coverage of the Jaguars, the NFL, and all things sports. Another thing our listeners will love, your business. Let's work together and get you on the fastest growing sports station in Northeast Florida. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 904-245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra Sales Event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Camry? It's not $26,000. Now it's only $17,988. That's $17,988 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Camry at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota Corolla? It's not $22,000. No way. Now it's just $13,888. Just $13,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Hey, everybody, this is Austin Lane. I used to wear number 92, and while it's a great number, 94 just might be better.
That's because Vida de Luis recently got a 94 rating. Hey, this is Brent Martineau. Vida de Luis is a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste.
For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com.
Leave your troubles ashore. Live the island life with the citrus of the sea. Vida de Luis tequila. Must be at least 21 to drink. Drink responsibly. Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post, beat writer for the Broncos.
But maybe Cam need that little bit of a kick in the rear end, because over a 48-hour span where Doug is saying probably not for Kansas City, and all of a sudden he's out there with a helmet.
Action Sports Jacks, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jacks.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
anytime, it's no different on offense when unfortunately you lose your quarterback. And Mike linebacker takes the majority of the reps during the week, and everything goes through him. So it's a little bit different, but Goody, went into the game and played solid. Obviously, we'd like to have Miles on the field and make better decisions. But it's different. Anytime you lose any player, doesn't matter if it's your Mike linebacker, could be your defensive end, defensive tackle, or safety. Just when you lose a starter, it hurts you, no matter who it is.
Well, that gets back to the discipline a little bit, because once you take yourself out of the game, especially the guy that's really calling the plays on the defense, Miles Jack, well, that really puts you in a bind. And the Jags were in a bind on a lot of different levels. I'm not sure Miles Jack was even playing that well in that football game prior to. I can't really name a defensive guy that was playing well, but it looked like Miles Jack was in chase mode quite a bit.
Yeah, he was in chase mode. It's so hard to tell because there were so many blown assignments there, but you can kind of tell whenever a linebacker's got his back turned, he's running towards the guy that has the ball. It's not a good sign. So, yeah, I think Miles Jack maybe had a couple, I guess judgment calls that didn't go his way. But it's once again, Brent, the entire defense in whole was doing that.
I think it's easy just to say blanket everybody didn't play well.
Yeah.
Although Todd Wash did say today, Jalen Ramsey, I think there were people were wondering, okay, how did he play? Did he play well or not? Or what was his fault, right? Everybody's trying to mention. He said he played 67 games. He said he didn't like 3 of the plays that he played. Jalen Ramsey didn't like 3 of the plays, especially. And so you play 6. I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, I guess, right? Who plays 67 out of 67 right? Is that,
sure, but
I don't know.
But
is that a bad game, though? I guess for Jalen, when you play 3 out of 67 bad, that's bad for Jalen.
Well, here's the thing, though. You can play three bad plays and it'll be okay. But if you play the bad plays and they're giant plays that go for 70-yard touchdowns, those are a lot worse. So it all depends what kind of play those are.
If you're Jalen's position, you'd rather play a dive run play.
Maybe you
bad.
miss a 5-yard tackle on an inside run, then it's going to be okay. But if you give up a big touchdown, a big play, then it's a little worse, obviously.
All right, fantasy football a little bit coming up, but also we have some falling, and it's LeBron James and Taco Tuesday related.
Yeah, man. Listen, LeBron James tried to trademark Taco Tuesdays, and obviously got that trademark declined because, of course, LeBron James didn't invent Taco Tuesdays. I've been doing Taco Tuesdays since I was in second grade in grade school. So from that perspective, I don't know, LeBron. I mean, how much money do you need and how much time do you have on your hands, man, to try to get this whole Taco Tuesdays trademark thing, to go here? Now, according to our resident NBA expert, Driving Dish podcast, Kuz, gave me the information that I guess this was all about a podcast where he was going to host celebrities eating tacos.
First Driving Dish podcast mentioned in a while.
Riveting. Yeah, but here's the thing. I feel like you eat tacos, you talk about it? Okay. Sorry. That was a Stewart thing. But no, so you eat tacos literally, and then that's supposed to be the big selling point. Dude, you're not Jerry Seinfeld. You're not getting coffee in a cool car. You're eating tacos.
I think this is like Ohio State trying to trademark the word "the,"
true,
or "the" in their text.
Yeah.
But that's not happening. Mm-hmm. And not bigger than that. But is there you know me, I like LeBron James. I like him a lot.
I do too. Yeah. I mean,
I don't like his decision to go to LA. I don't like the fact I feel like it was business related. And I think, are we going to question athletes? And can we question even a LeBron James that he's got too much on his plate in terms of business related, movie related, trademark related, podcast related, barbershop related, all these things going on, rather than, how about you just worry about finishing off this incredible basketball career over the next couple of years, cement your legacy? And, I think what somebody's going to say to me is say, well, listen, they're really relevant right now. You have to take advantage of all this. Come on, dude. LeBron James is going to be relevant until he's 95 years old. I mean, he doesn't need to dribble a basketball to be relevant. All these things will still happen for him.
Yeah.
I think that's the one knock I have. And, it's the one thing I always said about Tiger Woods, whether it's this a little different. And people hate when I say this, or some do. It's like getting married and having kids if you're Tiger Woods. That's not part of the plan in chasing Jack. Mm-hmm. If you want to be great, and I'm not saying that Tiger regrets having the kids or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to be great, you got to be selfish. If you want to be one of the best of all time, you got to be selfish. And selfish means all my attention is on, for LeBron James basketball, for Tiger Woods golf, For Tom Brady, he does a nice job of handling his family, but he's got a hell of a lot of attention on football. And yes, he has opened this TB12 thing. But he doesn't seem like Tom Brady doesn't seem like he's doing 15 different things.
True.
He might do one business venture, maybe it's two, and he's got an army of people helping him out. I feel like all of a sudden LeBron James has spread himself through all these different things rather than just playing basketball. Is that fair or not?
That's very fair, and you see this happen a lot actually with MMA fighters, Brent. For instance, a girl by the name of Ronda Rousey, who at the time was the biggest MMA star in the entire world. She had to rise to prominence pretty fast, and all of a sudden she starts doing the Fast and the Furious movies. She starts doing these other endeavors and falls off the pedestal, and all of a sudden now she's doing pro wrestling, and now she's just kind of chilling. But it happens so quickly, right? And I get it, even from a fighting perspective or from a sports perspective, you want to think that now is the time to do it because this is when your name's trending the most. This is when people can recognize you the most. But see, I think it's the other way around. I think you want to build a brand. You want to build yourself as a player or as a fighter where when you retire, people will still recognize you. People will still associate that brand with you, and then you can do the movies and things like that. So I definitely agree with your principles here.
There are some instances where that doesn't work. But when you have the star power, like for us, we got to do a little on TV. We got to do a little on radio. We got to do a little social media. We got to do a little bit of everything. We got to try to reach a lot of different audience. We got to go get them, go reach them. Now, if I dress like this every show, I might just be doing radio, okay?
And maybe you will. We'll see, man. This could be a gimmick here.
But this is different for, like, if you're LeBron James, you already are so big, man. You already are, so you don't have to go
You've already won the
seek
game.
this stuff.
Yeah, you've already
Not
won,
right
man.
now. Wait 3 years, dude, and then go do it. Again, who's the smartest guy on the planet when it comes to being an athlete? You know who the smartest athlete maybe of all time is? Anybody?
I'm going to guess Peyton Manning.
Not Gardner Minshew, not yet. Good call, though. Way to stick with the theme.
Michael
Manning,
Jordan?
not bad.
Michael Jordan?
Manning's a good example of this, but not a great.
Jordan? No.
Any other guesses?
Smartest athlete. I mean, it's obviously the guy that we're not talking about a lot. I have no idea, man.
He does now own a team.
That's not Michael Jordan.
Nope.
Is it Marshawn Lynch and his partial ownership of the Oakland Panthers?
Nope.
Okay.
A-Rod?
Nope, but right sport.
Jeter.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Derek
No,
Jeter
for sure.
is the smartest athlete of all time, in my opinion. The guy plays baseball in New York, stays away from the back pages, never says anything that will get him in trouble. Yet, you want to see his credential list?
Starting lineup?
Yes. He goes about it a totally different way. You never hear about it other than in kind of a fun, loving way.
Yeah.
In that sense, he plays a fantastic career, wins all these rings, gets the brand, grows the brand, stays relatively quiet, if you will, in New York while he's playing baseball. All attention on playing the sport that he loves, the sport that's built his brand. When he retires at the age of 40, he actually has a big stake in the Players Tribune. It's like, I think that's his. Like, it was one of his ideas. If I'm not, is that right? I feel like I'm right on that. We're going to look that up. But I think Players Tribune is a big thing that Jeter helped do, or he's somehow involved in it. And then he goes and purchases the Miami Marlins, and now he's going to be an owner. And then you know what else he did? And this is not right, probably in sequential order, but he got married to a model.
Yeah.
He did all these things after playing, And I just feel like if you want to be one of the greatest, and Derek Jeter is,
yes,
he goes down as one of the great Yankees. You have to worry about doing that stuff. It's hard enough as it is. And I think there's no athlete that's done it better on a bigger stage, if you add it all up, than Derek Jeter, quite frankly.
All
And
right.
I'm not supposed to say nice things about Derek Jeter. I hate the damn Yankees.
Yeah.
By the way, he does own. He was the founder of the Players.
I thought so. I thought that was right. I didn't want to speak out of turn, but I thought he was the founder.
Okay, Brent, but let's be
And
honest,
by the way,
though.
I love the Players Tribune. It was a great idea. I think it was just a fantastic idea.
Let's be honest here, though. Let's turn back the clocks a little bit. Let's go back in time. Let's go back to my childhood. Let's go back to Stewart's childhood. I get it. Derek Jeter has all the respect. He has my 100% utmost respect. I think everybody would say that. But people weren't playing Derek Jeter's home run derby. people weren't Yankees fans were buying Derek Jeter jerseys. We were buying Ken Griffey Jr. jerseys. We were buying Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, because those were the big names. Those were the guys that you saw in the commercials. Those were the guys on the cereal boxes. Those were the guys that you could identify with. Not to knock on Derek Jeter whatsoever, but I'm just saying I understand what you're saying where he handled his career the best, but from the perspective of being that household name, was he really the top one when he was coming up playing at the high level?
I'm a little curious as to how different it would be, too, if he was playing right now. Like, I feel like in 5 years, so much has changed just with social media and people getting their names out there and the constant presence of you being in their minds and trying to push. Whereas literally 5 years ago when he retired, it was a whole different world.
I agree with that. That's not wrong.
I feel like he might have been on the back pages more often in this day of social media.
Yeah, I mean, it has changed even in the 5 years. You're right. It's still been a little wild and crazy in New York, man. They had people attached. They had reporters that had to follow around Jeter, most likely. Like, that's what they did. They had a reporter that just followed around George Steinbrenner in New York. Yeah. I mean, back in the day. They would do that probably to Jeter, too. They're trying to get dirt. Now, did they have as much TMZ? That's a fair point. And to your point, it's not a bad one. Could he have actually earned more money, more fame than he already had? Could he have pounced on that a little bit more? Yeah, probably you're right. But then he would have given something up. And you know what giving something up would have been? Maybe hurt his brand as a baseball player and a 100% Hall of Famer coming up in the next year.
No, I agree with that completely. But it's like, let's take Mike Trout, for example. And now, granted, Mike Trout plays on the West Coast, so I don't think he has as much pressure as playing in New York City. But Mike Trout is arguably probably the greatest baseball player right now of his time.
That's probably not even arguable.
Yeah, and then no one really talks about him. And I feel kind of the same thing with Derek Jeter a little bit, where when Derek Jeter was really at his prime, and granted, maybe it's a position that he played, he wasn't known as the home run hitter, as some of the other guys that he played with were. Yeah. But I think it depends what you want to get out of the game. Do you want to get those cereal boxes? Do you want to get those video games? Well, then you do it, way number A, and you be this flashy kind of baseball player. Or do you want to go underneath the radar, build yourself a legacy, and get the respect of the fans and your peers? Then you do it Derek Jeter's way. I'm not saying there's a right and a wrong way. I think Derek Jeter's approach is a lot better to do because I think longevity is there, but I'm not going to fault the baseball player for wanting the money, up front and wanting to get all the endorsements and everything like that.
It gives you one thing I think you're right about, but do you know how many things he probably turned down?
No, millions.
Like you just brought up cereal boxes.
We very well could have been playing Derek Jeter's baseball instead of King Griffey baseball.
We could have. That's
Yeah,
maybe. He just opted to say, you know what, I don't want all that right
But
now.
I think a lot of that had to do with Ken Griffey and just the swag that he brought in and being able to hit the home run ball.
Well,
but
I think Stewart's point, maybe it's not Ken Griffey, but maybe it's 3 years earlier or 3 years later or somewhere else. I don't know. This goes back to LeBron James, the Taco Tuesday thing, which is a little silly in itself. But at the same time, I get the sense now as a guy who I like LeBron James. He's one of my favorite athletes. He really is. I've bragged about LeBron James. I think he handles his business you don't see him in the back page as much. You don't see him TMZ a lot. They probably try to make something up, but he's just not plastered all over there. He does so many good things for Akron and Cleveland and all these different groups. I mean, it's fantastic what he does. I just think he has sidetracked himself a little bit at this stage of his career by the whole business side of it. So that's what I get the sense of in the last couple of years, the move to L.A., the Taco Tuesday, the barbershop thing. I think I would rather see him as a fan of LeBron and want to build that legacy into, is he as good as Jordan? Is he the second best player, the third best player of all time? I want to see him just play basketball for 2 or 3 years and then go do that other stuff.
See, and I totally understand that, Brent, but at the same time, I think being a professional athlete nowadays compared to when Jeter was in his prime is that the role of a professional athlete has changed. The expectations have changed now. If you look at the landscape of just, the social media and the landscape of just the world in general, we turn to professional athletes now to be leaders. We turn to professional athletes to kind of lead us if there's like a racial injustice. We want those guys to speak out on it. And that's where like his barbershop show comes into play. You know, a lot of that I think was started from the fact that he wants to be more than an athlete, you know, and I forgot who the lady, I think Laura Ingraham or
I think
yeah, when she said, just shut up and play basketball. Well, LeBron James, shut up and dribble. And LeBron James took offense to that. And I think that's what kind of drove him to start these more endeavors to get the conversation started. So I get what you're saying there, but at the same time, we got to remember that we ask a lot more than we did back then with professional athletes.
That's a very good point. Very good point there. And something that used to people would knock Tiger Woods about is he wouldn't take a stand. And you do have a stand being taken a little bit more LeBron James. Whether some agree or not agree, he's doing it.
Now, Space Jam 2, on the other hand, in L.A., like, that's not fighting racial injustice, hate to tell you. I mean, unless Bugs Bunny is doing something, but
just as
from that
important.
perspective.
It needs to happen. Let's go.
Hey, fantasy football, do I play Cam Newton tonight against you or Jared Goff? Who are you more afraid of?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Let's think about it over the break.
Goff and the Saints, and we actually are at a break. So Carolina's playing Tampa tonight.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, on paper, this is a brutal game for a Thursday night football game.
Yeah.
It's like, did somebody pay them to take this game?
Have you seen the Thursday night commercials,
Yes,
like that hype up the game, where it's like the fans talking smack to each other?
Yeah.
Dude, we got to get. Can I volunteer for the Titans game? Can I volunteer for the guy? Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
I'll just be eating mayo the entire time.
Minshew Mania.
Let's do it.
We should be in the open.
We should definitely be in the opener. Yeah.
More Minshew Mania coming up, and we're talking about practice. Should the Jaguars practice tackling? They did it today. Should we see it more? What's the issue with tackling? Austin tackles that. Coming up next on ESPN 690. And Rhino Halloran joins us. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. The Greater Jacksonville Area Cadillac Dealers Action Sports Jax Dream 18 is just around the corner. September 16th at the Golf Club at Southampton. Thanks to our presenting sponsors as well, the law offices of Ron Scholes and the Players Championship. Your business can still be a part of the event to raise money for St. Michael's Soldiers and North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors is challenging local businesses to donate $1,000. Join the $1,000 charity challenge at actionsportsjaxdream18.com.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Beard's Diamonds guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a GIA certified diamond in North Florida. Shop Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
So your team scores. Suddenly you're best friends with perfect strangers. Tullamore Dew calls these friendships fanships. When the game is on, order a Tullamore Dew, the original triple-blended, smooth-sipping Irish whiskey for the person next to you. This game day, grab a Tully and strike up a fanship at...
Find Tullamore Dew in Jacksonville at Mellow Mushroom Jack's Beach, Mellow Mushroom Avondale, and Mellow Mushroom Southside.
When it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, 2019, imported by William Grant & Sons, Inc.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Get a floor that's 100% waterproof for life without sacrificing the style you want. The Home Depot has Pergo Outlast Plus laminate starting at just $279 a square foot. With 22 designer colors, Pergo Outlast Plus can fit any style in any room beautifully. And you can rest easy because it's waterproof. Get Pergo Outlast Plus starting at just $279 a square foot at the #1 Pergo waterproof laminate flooring retailer. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. See warranty for details.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Hey, it's Trey Wingo from Golic and Wingo, and you're listening to ESPN 690.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Jets will be without quarterback Sam Darnold for multiple weeks. He's been diagnosed with mono. Trevor Siemian steps in as the starter. The Jets host the Browns on Monday Night Football. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports running back Darius Geis will be out 6 to 8 weeks after surgery today for a torn meniscus in his right knee. The NFL suspends Bills rookie linebacker Terrell Dodson for 6 games after an alleged altercation with his girlfriend. The Chargers aren't negotiating right now with holdout running back Melvin Gordon, but Adam Schefter says Gordon might be back sooner than expected.
I sensed a little bit of itchiness this week, asking around, and we'll see whether Melvin Gordon acts on that anytime in the near future.
Adam Schefter on Golic and Wingo. The NFL weekend starts tonight in Charlotte. The Panthers hosting the Buccaneers. The managing director of USA Basketball, Jerry Colangelo, says when he puts together the Olympic roster, he won't forget about the players who backed out of this year's World Cup. Team USA lost again today, this time to Serbia.
Great news. There's a quick way you could save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I just did the Sports Center update. We were saying, I don't want to speak no ill will toward the fine folks of Serbia. But how do we lose to Serbia in basketball?
Yeah.
I mean, they're supposed to be pretty good, right?
Yes.
No, they are, really. Like you just said that, like,
people predicted that to be the championship match, USA versus Serbia.
Boy, we were far away from the dream team in 1992, man.
Oh, you're not lying.
I mean, we lost back-to-back games. You know, Serbia was up 25 points in that game.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing Serbia's roster right now, and you're right. They have
it's a good roster. I'm just saying.
They have the Joker. They got the Bogdanovic. They're the brothers, right? There's 2 of them.
Bogdanovic, yeah.
Who's right? They're brothers, or they're related.
Yeah, well, they're
They're both from Serbia.
They're both from Serbia.
Does that help?
Yeah, and they both filled the stat columns with the Pacers and whoever else. I think the Kings was the other guy was on.
Listen, if we had told the 1992 Dream Team that in 2019 the United States is going to lose an international event to Serbia,
of course not. Vince Carter have been dunking over everybody. Not a good look for USA.
No. Hey, this is always a good look. It's Vita DeLuise time. Happy hour horde time on a Thursday. Minshew Mania has hit Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
party now begin. See the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace, no. Anything goes. Gangsters rolling, half-face smiling. Heads up, think of the rhythm what you're drinking. Anything goes.
Grab a drink, get a shot, sip your Star Tenders, because we're all celebrating Minshew Mania.
Oh, Vida de Luis recently got a 94 rating. Locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico. Shipped directly to Jax Beach. For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com. Drink responsibly. Once again, Vida de Luis will be a part of our Action Sports Jax Dream 18. We'll also have Live Oak whiskey out there, Carve Craft Vodka as well. We got a big party coming up on Monday at the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Hopefully the weather stays away with this latest tropical development, but it's coming up Monday at the Golf Club at Southampton. Hey, thanks for staying on the line to Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post. He's hanging out with us at 5 o'clock on a Thursday. Minshew Mania, I hope you didn't check out the video feeds because you might not want to talk to us, Ryan.
Well, you look ridiculous, but I love it.
Hey, you've been around here long enough. You got to find some fun after 40-26. Your captain gets thrown out of a game for a punch. You give up 40 to the Kansas City Chiefs and can't stop anybody. Lose your franchise quarterback, the $88 million man. You got to find a way to have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the props usually haven't been busted up until around early November in the Jaguars beat, but a total system breakdown in all phases on Sunday. I figured it was going to be a tough matchup. I did not expect 40 points and Mahomes have 300 yards at halftime, but maybe this defense isn't as good as they say they are.
Yeah, Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post covers the Broncos, all things NFL, really, on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Joins us weekly. Hey, Ryan, I've said this a couple times over the weekend, and I put it on a trivia question. We even talked about it in the topic, and I feel like I might have left you guys out. I said, who had the most disappointing season opener? And I excluded the Dolphins because they don't have any hopes. Everybody else had hopes in this list, like the Cleveland Browns, Chicago Bears, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I always forget the fourth team. Who else did I list? Bears, Browns, Jaguars, and Steelers. But I probably could have put the Broncos on that list. That was very disappointing. I thought they were going to beat Oakland, and Oakland really schooled them.
Yeah, it's inexcusable to come out the way they did. They weren't ready to play. That falls on the head coach. It's been an interesting week for Vic. You know, how can he rally his guys and avoid 0-2 for the first time here since at least over a decade? You know, you mentioned those teams that had week one duds. Jaguars, I thought that was a bad matchup, and plus there was an injury. The Steelers, inexcusable. They didn't look like they were going to be able to stop anybody for at least a little while, but I go back to Cleveland. There were a lot of expectations internally. They told you about them all offseason, and they come out, and this is not a great Tennessee team. And they're going to show that, but to get blown out by the Titans, I don't think we're going to see Jim and Tony in the booth at Cleveland anytime soon.
We know that feeling.
Ryan, so I think the Broncos and the Jaguars have a little bit in common here because coming off that Chiefs loss, a lot of people are saying, you know, the Jaguars defensive line, which is supposed to be their strongest unit on defense, didn't get a sack, didn't get a lot of QB pressures, you know, wasn't in the backfield a lot. And I can compare that to the Broncos right now against the Raiders where Von Miller didn't register a sack, Chubb didn't as well. I mean, are we kind of in the same boat now? Because I'm telling people, listen, you shouldn't panic too much about the defensive line and you shouldn't panic about their defense in general going into week 2 against the Texans. I mean, is there a lot of panic right now in Denver getting ready to play the Bears?
Well, there's not yet. But, you know, the thing about teams who throw quick, well, the reason they're throwing quick is guys are open. It means you got to cover better. I mean, it works hand in hand, rush and cover. That's why it's a cliche, because it's true. You know, you look at the Jaguars, Mahomes is always going to try and make things happen. He's got a whole bunch of weapons. You look at Derek Carr, Von Miller didn't really have a chance. Mm-hmm. You know, because here's the thing, and this is what pass rush impacts. Oakland was 10 of 14 on third down. 8 of those conversions were 33 or less. So they could have a run pass on any of those third downs. They took advantage of that, and they held the ball for a long time in that first half while building a big lead. So, you know, I think Houston is the best elixir for this Jaguar pass rush because it's like they don't have a GM. Oh, wait, they don't. And, and I mean, you see Deshaun Watson just get beaten to a pulp in the opening game. If I'm the Jaguars, I'm looking at this game like it could be a repeat of 2 years ago. And that's what it should be, is you get the sacks, you get the takeaways, you put your offense in a position to succeed.
Ryan O'Halloran with us from the Denver Post. I do want to ask you about your game a little bit, because should we be giving credit to John Gruden? I mean, that looked like a masterful game plan, just like I think we talk so much about the Jags around here. Andy Reid looked like a genius the other day. I don't know if he called a bad play, and I thought Gruden had a lot of that in him. I'm not comparing the two as head coaches, at least this stint for Gruden. I'm just saying that night, it looked like he called every play correctly, and I think you have to give Derek Carr a lot of credit, too. I mean, the guy played fantastic on Monday night.
Yeah, I thought Gruden was great, and I give a lot of credit to Greg Olson, the former coordinator in Jacksonville, because one thing they wanted to do is they wanted to keep the Broncos in their base defense as much as possible and keep Chris Harris out of the slot, which I think he's probably the best nickel corner in the league. Keep him outside. They didn't even bother throwing at Chris. They picked on Isaac Yiadom, who's a second-year player, with a tight end, with a receiver. So they probed the matchups, and then when it came down to it, Josh Jacobs, the rookie from Alabama, gained a lot of yards in the run game. Didn't have a great per carry average, but he's able to keep the chains moving and stay ahead of the chains on first down. So I would agree. I thought John Gruden called a great game. And Andy Reid, in the regular season, he's one of the best play callers out there because he has so many weapons and he's not afraid to have a lot of volume because his quarterback can handle it.
Well, Sam Darnold in New York goes out with mono, and there's a story now circulating around this Monday Night Football game where Odell Beckham Jr. says defensive coordinator Greg Williams, who was in Cleveland last year, teaches cheap shots. Now, what's your take on that with players kind of saying something like that? Keep in mind, Odell Beckham Jr. was in New York last year. So it was almost like Odell Beckham Jr. is trying to take a cheap shot at Greg Williams, although Williams with Bountygate in the New Orleans situation, the New York Jets already seem a mess, don't they?
Yeah, and Beckham was in that part of the country during Bountygate, and Greg Williams was suspended for a year. And one of his favorite scenes when I covered him for the Redskins was deliver "Remember Me" shots, and that was to his safeties and corners. So the verbal volley, the verbal back and forth, I love it. But the Jets right now, I would throw them on that list of disappointing Week 1 teams. They forced 4 turnovers in the first half, yet led only 6-0. Then they let Josh Allen beat them in the second half. That did have the same old Jets feel to it. Le'Veon Bell banged up already. Sam Darnold out for a couple weeks. I mean, the Jets with their schedule, they could be looking at 0-6, 1-5.
Wow. Let me ask you about tonight's game. Tampa Bay, Carolina, not necessarily a marquee matchup, but what does this mean for Jameis Winston, and what could it mean for Carolina? This is a game they really need to get.
Yeah, I would agree. Carolina, had a dud at home themselves, losing to the Rams. Cam did not look good. I had most of the 49er Buccaneer game on when I got to the Bay Area on Sunday. Jameis looked terrible. And he's fortunate there's not a tried and true backup behind him, because if you're Bruce Arians with a quarterback in the last year of his deal, you may say, hey, enough. I'm going to bite the bullet this year and see what I have for the future. Well, Blaine Gabbert's the backup, and he's hurt. So Jameis is going to have a very long, a line to try and prove himself. But 2 pick sixes, more turnovers, uncomfortable in the pocket. I think tonight's a big game for him, just from a confidence standpoint, because if he keeps going this direction, players are going to lose belief in the guy, and they should be doubting it already. And Bruce Arians, he forgot, for honest sake, he named his own book The Quarterback Whisperer. Well, he obviously has confidence he can fix Jameis, but at some point you got to cut your losses. I think tonight's big for both Cam and Jameis to see, okay, what team can get to 1-1, and and the other team is 0-2, and saying, okay, now what?
Pick sixes and uncomfortable in the pocket. Kind of sounds like he's been learning from Blaine Gabbert a little bit there, Ryan.
Well, Blaine, I give Blaine credit. He knows how to learn offense, so he's getting paychecks. But I did like, from personally, I do like Jameis' turnover streak continuing, because he's edged above my guy Blake Bortles in terms of number of turnovers.
Yeah, that's Stuart Weber, by the way, that jumped in. Now back to you, Austin Lane. What you got? You checking on your fantasy team? You scored like 200 points in fantasy football.
Yeah, I did. It was a statement game. We'll get into that later. I'm going to ask, Ryan, it wouldn't be traditional unless I don't ask you about Antonio Brown. It seems like every single week it's something new, and now we have the case where Antonio Brown goes to New England. And I think from the Patriots standpoint, set aside from all the BS that's going on right now, so set aside from all these crazy allegations that are kind of disturbing to say the least. But I'm saying from a football standpoint, I think it's a great signing by the Patriots because, Antonio Brown has to play by their rules or it's the highway. Brent doesn't think it's a really great signing in terms of distractions. What say you? I mean, is it a good signing for the Patriots or one that probably doesn't warrant all the distractions?
Well, from a football standpoint, over the weekend, you're saying, okay, this is a great signing because he is probably one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the league. Then you couple that with Josh Gordon looking unstoppable on Sunday night. Okay, how are the Patriots going to lose if Antonio Brown cares? That said, he's got to remain eligible to play. It's a long way until Sunday. You haven't heard anything from the commissioner's office yet about this investigation. It may take a while, but this is an organization that acquired Randy Moss when his reputation was at lowest point in 2007. They almost went 19-0. They had a murderer in the locker room in Aaron Hernandez. Didn't know about it, yet they're able to still win games. So this is an organization that prides itself on handling different personalities. I think Antonio Brown will fall in line because he has a 1-year deal. I'm sure there's very little guaranteed money. I don't care about the signing bonus. It's probably more of a roster bonus than anything. So if he is eligible and engaged, I think this is an offense that's going to be tough to stop.
Yeah, I mean, you have to at least appreciate they don't really give a what about anybody else and what they think. I mean, they're Patrick Chung, the cocaine charge over the last month or so. I mean, they just like
look at the owner.
Well, I was going to bring that up. I mean, the last year they just like, hey, we're going to get another Lombardi. Okay, that's what we want. That's what history's going to say at the end of the day. I don't really like it. I don't think they'll do well with this. I think the toxic nature of Antonio Brown will rear its ugly head. Let me ask you, you know this very well. Antonio Brown, they said, will not talk this week. Does he have to?
Well, you give a little bit of a grace period. If he does it next week, then it's up to the Patriots media to file a complaint because part of the standard NFL contract is cooperating with the media. This is what bugs me about NFL teams. They make a one-day story a one-week story.
Yeah.
And that's where I give the Jaguars a tip of the hat is they had Miles Jack talk after the game on Sunday when he got ejected. Okay, that's a one-day story. The next day, everything was about Minshew. That's how you handle this thing from a PR perspective. You don't let it fester and all of a sudden you're having to write stories about such and such, still not addressing the topic at hand. So and that's where NFL teams do not know how to put out correct, good statements, and they sometimes don't know how to get out of their own way in terms of controversy.
Yeah, well said. Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post. One last question for you, man. Week 1 to week 2. Week 1 can be very arbitrary in terms of how it looks, how it plays out, who wins, who loses, the styles, and what it really means in the course of the season. How much do you think week 2 really levels that out and says, okay, these are the teams that we're going to see for the most part in 2019?
Well, I think it does go a long way because, the histories there at 0-2 is a pretty big hole. And, those teams, that means you basically have to win 10 out of your last 14 to make the playoffs. That's really tough in a parity-driven league like in the NFL. And, that old cliche, your biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2, that's probably the truth because the play callers have had a full game with their personnel. Guys are probably in a little bit better condition this week having to survive week 1 and playing 65 plays. So I think you're going to see a lot of good games this week, but also week 1 reveals itself of what you got. Week 2 is a semi-reveal, semi-confirm.
Yeah, very well said. Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post. Have fun with the game this week. We'll see what happens with the Denver Broncos. By the way, if Gardner Minshew leads the Jaguars to a win in Houston, you've got to come on the show next week, and I don't know if you can even show a picture or not, but it's got to be a cutoff shirt. It's got to be the aviator glasses, a bandana, a little mustache. I mean, it's just the way it's got to be, man. You got to join Minshew Mania.
Well, the other stuff is fine. Nobody wants to see the cutoff T-shirt. So
Have a good week, bud. And we're only a couple of weeks away from seeing you out in Denver when the Jaguars play the Broncos. Have a good weekend. Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post.
Take care, fellas. Thanks.
All right. When we come back, more talk about Minshew Mania. Let's get back on it. And I didn't ask Ryan. We'll run out of time a little bit, but I want to ask you, tackling in practice. What is this? Does it mean something? I mean, what about tackling in general, early part of the season? You've played the sport. Yeah. The rules have changed. And you played, by the way, in both rules, before the CBA, after the CBA, right?
Correct.
So Is that an excuse? Is it reality when so many teams are missing tackles early in the season like the Jaguars did on Sunday? We're going to talk about that next on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 as Minshew Mania rolls on a Thursday.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly cloudy tonight with an isolated shower as temperatures drop into the low 70s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. Clearly, it's because I'm on every morning from 6 till 10 a.m. But this isn't about me. It's about your business. Get your business noticed today. First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get on our team than right now. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
What happens when your alarm system gets triggered? Let's say you're at work and your house is getting broken into. You want the police called, right? Well, that only happens with a Safe Touch security system. You heard me, right? Yes, the law states that if an alarm is not verified, the alarm contractor must call the key holders before calling the police, giving the crooks plenty of time to clean out your home and have an easy getaway. But the Safe Touch two-way communicator verifies the holdup in just seconds, allowing the Safe Touch operators to dispatch emergency authorities in seconds. Also providing valuable information to the authorities. Customers also receive an instant text verification as well as live video of who's in your home. This video can be transferred to the police, giving them a huge advantage in the war on crime. Don't just think you're safe, know you're safe. Get the Safe Touch Advantage now and receive a free color listen and talk camera and just $5 extra for storage. Get the Safe Touch Advantage now at safetouch.com. License number EF233 with approved credit terms and conditions apply.
Beards Diamond's incredible 5 years, 0 interest with 0 down has been so popular, we're extending it till the end of September. How about a $3,000 designer setting? You pay just $50 a month.
Or a $2,500 pair of diamond studs? You pay less than $42 a month.
Take advantage of Beards Diamond's already low prices. Then spread your payments out over 60 months and get her that piece of jewelry she's been dreaming about. Shop Beards Diamonds.
Located at the St. John's Town Center.
Is today the day it'll finally stop raining?
We sure hope so, but it's been a very wet summer so far. This is Mike with Big Fish Roofing. Don't forget, your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Here at Big Fish Roofing, as an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we are locally owned and we drive our business with quality and integrity. We do not require any down payments until your roof project is complete. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing. We are the roofers you can trust. We are Big Fish Roofing.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st, and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
I think it's time to let go. Top-ranked Clemson at the Syracuse Orange. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. Presented by Goodyear.
This is Action Sports Jax
On ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
So I just walked down the hall to get the coffee, warmed up a little bit.
Yep.
And just wasn't really thinking. Now I'm like, this is me.
Embrace it, man. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. Full character. Start doing some squats, man. I'm
I got
telling
some
you.
folks down the hall, like, it was one of the little double take. and then somebody else goes by while I'm waiting for the coffee to warm up in the microwave. And it's almost like that guy, he thinks this is who I am.
No, for sure.
Like he wasn't like a double take.
Yeah.
He'd never seen me before, and he just was like, all right.
Well, here we go.
That's kind of how I felt about sort of our landscape. Like I said, our landscaper outside. I mean, I see him pretty much every single day when I leave for the show, and he was outside, and all of a sudden I'm just rocking this, and he goes, what's up, man? And I literally just said, what's up? And I didn't explain to it. I didn't justify. I'm just like, this is who I am now. Accept me. So,
what do you think? Gardner Minshew proud of us today? Is Gardner Minshew proud of us? I mean, do you think we're rocking this all right?
But here's the thing, man. If you're a true Gardner Minshew believer, you don't care what Gardner Minshew thinks because you believe in yourself, right?
Very good. Good point.
So that was a trick question.
I like that.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And I passed with flying colors.
You certainly did. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Minshew Mania has hit it big time here at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Kuz just looks like Kuz, and Action Sports Jax Stuart Weber just looks like Stuart Weber.
Yeah. I don't have a camera.
Yeah, you don't have a camera. We got to work on that.
When I get a camera, I'll dress up with the skits.
One of these days. We haven't hit like the magic
Do you want to come
button.
sit in my chair?
You know when you
Well, no, I'd need an outfit.
You know when you're trying to like raise money and you have like a goal? Yeah, okay, and you got the thermometer?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it might be, and it keeps going up and up and up. Somewhere along the line, we here at ESPN 690 haven't hit the thermometer. Because once we reach our goal, maybe we get a third camera.
Can we get a TV though too?
That's a different thermometer gauge.
I'd fill that
one thing at a time
first.
One thing at a time.
TV's more important?
TV's more important.
I might just go buy the TV then.
Brent, I mean, what do you want? I told you I'd bring the TV in here. I literally my second day on the job, I brought brackets in here to hang it up, but unfortunately the sound wall thing you can't drill into. Give me a break. Do you think Gardner Minshew cares about soundproof walls and stuff? No.
See, Kuz is taking this personal. It's not about Kuz. Kuz's done a fantastic job. Kuz's got his computer in here now. We got tight shots on the Minshew Mania look.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
you
little
can't
different.
see my shorts, but it's all right, though.
We saw you squat on the video earlier, and that was disgusting.
I mean, the range of motion is
That was
absolutely
gross.
ridiculous. Come on, man.
You want me to
Grow up, Brent.
point the camera down a little bit?
No. Yeah, what's up?
No.
You guys don't like getting ratings? You guys don't like getting views?
Well, I'm watching,
Mixer would
I'm
be off
watching the
charts.
numbers, and they are dropping off
Mixer
a cliff
would be off the charts right now. That'd be another kind of video.
You need a cup check.
We've already been banned from Mixer.
The Minshew jockstrap story is different.
Yes.
In the locker room. Go read those. Thank goodness we didn't try that.
Yeah, I thought about it. Probably for the best.
How long did you think about it?
Yeah, hopefully not very long.
I dwelled on it for a minute. Yeah.
All right, I've been asking this question all day and not answering it. Practice tackling.
Yeah.
They were going to go live in practice today at the tackling. Now, not bring to the ground, but more than they normally do and unusual. They don't really do that this time of year in practice. So what does that mean? Is that a good message? Like you're talking before about messages and discipline. Is this a good message about tackling that Todd Wash is going to have a little bit of live tackling in practice today?
So this kind of contradicts what I came in here and said on Monday, right? Where I said if you're a football team and you're running the show, you can't go from being a laid-back environment to trying to increase the tempo all of a sudden, to try to pull the reins a little more. You can't do that. It's easy to go the other way where you have a hard environment and then you ease up during the middle of the season. This is exactly the opposite. But what I think you have here is you have a coach. I'm not sure if it's more of a head coach thing or a DC thing, but whoever is making the calls is trying to send a point to that team. And the point is you guys need to tackle better. You guys got embarrassed against Kansas City. And I don't think that's actually the bad call to do here, because I think the team's going to embrace this, Brent. The team's going to take this to heart because they know. You know, you saw with Jalen Ramsey. When Jalen Ramsey was giving his interview, he seemed like a guy who's, number one, matured a little bit and was facing the tough questions, but he also understood that they didn't play well. So I think if you understand that, you have to do whatever it takes. And if you have to tackle during the week, then tackle during the week.
And this week, it makes a lot more sense to do it than, say, next week when you're on a short week. Because you got that Thursday game coming up right after this one on Sunday.
It'll be no physical at all.
Nothing at all. So if you're going to do it, now's the time.
Yeah, very good point there. How much do you think, seriously now, as we look back, and I think other teams had this issue. I brought up the point, the T.Y. Hilton touchdown. We were watching, I think, in the sports office on Sunday. They missed that tackle. The Chargers did twofold. One guy whiffed and one guy just missed the tackle. And it was bad. I mean, T.Y. Hilton should never have scored on that play. Should have been pushed out of bounds at like a 2-yard gain. Is it a league epidemic ever since the new CBA and all the rule changes? Have you noticed a difference when you played in those early years versus playing now at how well people tackle? I would say more specifically early in the year, but just in general during the year.
Now, do you mean in regard to when you're talking about the CBA, are you talking about how much they're allowed to hit during training camp, or are you talking about the changing rules for how you're supposed to tackle during a game with the concerns of these 15-yard penalties and these getting ejected penalties?
I'm more concerned about the physical nature and how often you can practice and hit in general in practices.
Because I think both of those
you're right, because of the sparing and not being able to use your helmet, and it changes a little bit. But I think I'm more speaking to the CBA changes when you were a player, Austin. I think, what was that, 2012? Does that sound right?
2012, correct.
That when there was the lockout for a little bit and everything. Part of that change was to loosen up practices, to not be as stringent. No 2-a-day practices during camp. No less physical nature. I forget the exact rules. We've spelled them out before, but it's like you can only hit like or be in full pads like 6 times during the whole course of the regular season once the season starts. Or
and if I'm not mistaken, I could have swore that we had a penalty for OTAs where we went a little too aggressive, and we actually got a couple practices, I think, during summer.
You got an OTA taken away.
Something like that taken away. Something was taken away.
That's still not out of the nature. It'll be a penalty sometimes to a team to take a practice away, which, by the way, players rejoice. But
media too.
Yeah, media too. And sometimes even coaches. But is it a problem? Is tackling a problem because of the way practice is approached now once that new CBA? And I'm not knocking the CBA. Maybe it's the right way to do it for player safety. Yeah. But the trickle-down effect is maybe people can't tackle anymore.
No, I agree with you on this. And listen, it's hard for me to kind of put into words because it's so generalized, right? Like I'm trying to compare like a defensive lineman or a linebacker here. But when you're tackling somebody, the key to having a good tackle and taking someone to the ground is not hesitating. All right, you have to drive through them. If you even blink for a second, if you're like, I better make a business decision, no, then you've already lost.
And that's Stewart's point a little bit.
Yeah,
because you might get a flag or you might hurt yourself. Yeah.
But I'm not talking about that's one thing. Like in the secondary, if there's a pass going up, I'm saying if the running back's coming through the hole, you're the linebacker one-on-one. If you make that business decision, be like, I might lay up a little bit. You might get truck stick. You might miss it completely. Whatever it is, you're probably gonna be embarrassed. So that's with what I think with training camp, well, especially the preseason games, that meant so much where you had to go live because not only is it conducive to getting you right mentally, but it's also conducive to the proper techniques. If you're going through a team period, right, like we saw during training camp here, if you're going through a team period and you're just tapping on the hip, well, that's going to eventually teach you bad habits because it's all about muscle memory. We're creatures of habit. If you're used to tapping on the hip, what's going to happen if you go to the game? You're going to tap on the hip. You're not going to go through them all. And I get it. Yeah, you have to raise your stakes when you're in a game, but it's the same thing, Brent. I think where if you don't play the guys in the preseason, if you don't get them those reps, well, they have to have some time to get conditioned, to get mentally prepared to make that hit. And we've seen that they haven't really done that. A lot of teams haven't done that. I'm not just picking on the Jaguars here, but I think there is something to be said when you don't practice tackling during training camp or you don't get the guys in the preseason tackling a little bit. that's gonna leave effect, especially the first couple weeks.
I guess, I was going to say the second part of that question is, when does it wear off? When does it become second nature again? Okay, I'm running around, I'm playing. Keep in mind, the Jags, we might look back, and one of the fascinating things about the NFL is how the storyline changes, not only week to week, but I think once every 3 weeks or once every month, or maybe it's once every 6 weeks. What we're talking about now, we might be talking about totally something different, and we may look up in 6 weeks, maybe even in 10 weeks and say, well, of course the Jaguars didn't tackle well. This is one of the best offenses that you might ever see in Kansas City. They're a hard team to tackle, especially right off the rip, to start the season. But the overall point is, generally across the NFL, how long does this linger? Will we see better tackling this week? Will we see better tackling in week 3? Will it take 5 weeks for better tackling? Because I think it was a league-wide deal that I saw. In the games that I watched, I thought tackling was a miss for most teams. It wasn't just the Jags.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're speaking like, on a team-by-team basis, I think it takes at least 2 or 3 weeks to get your body acclimated, to get your mind acclimated to playing a game again. Now, some guys, maybe it's only one game. Some guys, it's one game, you get embarrassed. It's like, listen, that was bad. We got to step it up a little bit. So, I mean, I think it varies team by team, but I wouldn't be surprised week 2 and especially week 3 where we see an improvement on tackling.
If you're talking about muscle memory, I wonder if there's any sort of advantage for the guys who are fresh out of college. Because in college, it's not like that at all. I mean, you could speak to it, Austin, where it's a lot more live. It's a lot more you're hitting because your coach has 120 whatever guys on the roster. You're going to hit.
Well, and especially...
And you're not making business decisions. You're having to go out there and prove yourself every second of the day.
Well, and especially during like a training camp, right?
Sure.
Like if you're in the summer and you're on a college team, you're going to go live. You're going to hit. Now, I think schools are starting to take the reins off a little bit. Some schools are. I'll tell you what, I don't think Alabama is. And Alabama's always been one of the most fundamentally best hitting teams in the country. Well, that's for a reason.
They do it all year long.
They do it all year long. Now, that's to say you have to plan it accordingly. You just can't tackle full speed throughout the entire season during practice because that's how guys get hurt, because guys' bodies get worn down during the season. It's about finding that right balance. Like Stuart mentioned here, they had a game coming up here Thursday against Tennessee. You're not going to see a lot of hitting during them because you got to take care of guys' bodies. But if it's the start of the couple weeks or so, the start of the season, then you have to do it. And by that time, you hope when it's week 9, week 10, muscle memory has kicked in. You remember how to hit. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
You think muscle memory, when you were going there, I was thinking back to, you think about the college guys, that's how much muscle memory does play a factor sometimes out on the field. How many times do we see early on the college guy, a rookie, will not touch a player down because he thinks the player is down? Or even a receiver might not get up because he's down in college like that, which is a stupid rule. Like that's one of the things I hate about sports. Very few things I hate about sports. But I think from a rules standpoint, I don't understand why we don't play the same rules all across to help build. I don't, it's like I hate high school basketball in this state. Not I hate it in general, but I hate the fact that they don't use a shot clock. How do you not use a shot clock? What is this, 1942? I mean, in Indiana? I mean, come on.
Play at 4 corners.
What are we doing here? Yeah. It's not that expensive to buy a shot clock. I mean, I know things are costly, but come on. You can buy a shot clock, and we can keep a 35-second clock in high school basketball. Why do we have different rules in college football compared to the NFL when those guys are graduating to that next level, or some of them are, but we do see that sometimes.
It's funny you say that because high school football, especially in the state of Florida, has instituted that play clock.
They have?
They have. Now, not every school has a play clock, but the refs are now doing the hand signals and the saying things out loud. So they're moving that way in football. I'd imagine they got to do it in basketball at some point.
Yeah. And then getting back to the point of muscle memory real quick here, and Stuart mentioned, college players come to the NFL. When you go to a training camp or you go to a practice during OTAs, who are the guys that are usually getting yelled at for going a little bit too hard?
Yeah, good
the guys that are wrapping up. And when we saw Hard Knocks, you guys watched any bit of Hard Knocks, you saw a guy by the name of Jonathan Abram, who John Gruden made an example of and said, listen, you can't go hard like this. You got to ease up, take it easy on your players. And that's just a prime example, where the muscle memory has gone with them from college now to the pros, where it's like, we got to wrap up, we got to tackle here. That's not how the NFL works.
You don't have to worry about him getting hurt, at least.
Yeah, there it is. Combination of that and trying to impress, right? Combination of a little bit of both. Real quick, since I brought it up, do you like the rule? What would you rather see the rule? You have to tackle to the ground and be touchdown, or the college rule of if you're down and knee hits, you're down? What do you like?
Go ahead, Stuart.
I like the touch. I like that a defensive player has to come and touch you down.
Yeah, I do too. I don't get what's the advent? Am I missing something on the... If you're down, you're down?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I think just from the touch perspective, I'm
I feel like if you're 20 yards behind the defense and you make a catch, a diving catch, then
get up and run.
Get up and run.
Well, I know, and I think like maybe part of it went into like, well, injuries. Like you don't want a guy to go down, get back up, he gets depleted, but then you can just touch him, you know. So I don't know. I really don't understand that whole rule at all.
It just kind of came up, so I'm like now thinking about it, and I'm like, why does that even exist? Might have to Google it.
That's how I scored my my Senior Bowl touchdown, because it was a fumble. I went to the ground, thought I was down, nobody touched me, and DeAnthony Smith, another former Jacksonville Jaguar, literally had to pick me up and bear hug me into the end zone because I didn't know the rules, NFL style rules in the Senior Bowl. So
time to celebrate, baby.
Time to celebrate.
Also, can we talk about fair catching kickoffs? I don't like that either.
Well, that is a new rule instituted,
rules.
but that's definitely from a safety because they think that's the most dangerous play in football, the kickoff.
Yeah. High school, you can't even return it if it goes into the end zone.
Coach Sullivan and I will call the game again tomorrow. They'll be West Side and Jackson. We were talking about that last week. That's a goofy rule. Yeah. Like if you're going to be, if you're a yard into the end zone, you should be able to return it.
Never going to get a 101-yard kickoff return in high school football in Florida.
You can't do it. Absolutely not. All right, when we come back, let's take a look at tonight's game. Carolina and Tampa, how important of a game is this for those two, and maybe the two quarterbacks especially Jameis Winston. We'll get a look at that and stay in your lane on the way. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. It's a Minshew Mania Thursday. Would have been good alliteration if we did it on Monday. Maybe we'll do it again on Monday.
Mandatory Minshew Mondays. I like
Depends
it.
on what the Mania is at.
Jaguars All Access, by the way, tonight at Mellow Mushroom. I'm headed there after the show. Come join us, 7 o'clock. It will be on CBS 47. Calais Campbell, DJ Chark will be our guest. Let's get a big crowd out there at Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. And if you can't come out, check it out on TV on CBS 47. We're back with a little bit more radio right after this on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The New York Jets just found out their starting QB will be out for a while with mono. Darnold will have to sit while former Broncos quarterback Trevor Siemian leads the team. Meanwhile, Jacksonville is adjusting to life without Nick Foles as starting QB Gardner Minshew talks about the idea of respect on a football team.
You know, I learned a lot of things, going to different schools and learn the right way to step in and try to lead. And that's through going in and earning respect and not demanding respect, earn it, with how you work, with your study habits, everything like that, instead of just going in and talking and being loud. So that's been one thing that's served me well, I feel like, through my whole career.
The Jags play the Texans this Sunday at 1 p.m. And the Cleveland Browns took immediate action against a fan that doused a player from the opposing team in beer. But in true Cleveland Browns fashion, they banned the wrong guy. The man they accused was the DJ at a wedding at the time. The manhunt continues for the actual beer dousing assailant. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
I had no idea we were going to draft Blaine Gabbert. All right? Did your jaw just drop?
Yeah, it did. Did you sense the silence?
No idea. In fact, I left to go get something to eat because our pick wasn't for much longer in the draft.
You're supposed to pick 16th, yeah.
On ESPN 690.
Is today the day it'll finally stop raining?
We sure hope so, but it's been a very wet summer so far. This is Mike with Big Fish Roofing. Don't forget, your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Here at Big Fish Roofing, as an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we are locally owned and we drive our business with quality and integrity. We do not require any down payments until your roof project is complete. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing. We are the roofers you can trust. We are Big Fish Roofing.
Going to work or just taking care of your home. Daily activities that should never put you in jeopardy. Roundup Weed Killer has been linked to many cases of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Our farmers, gardeners, florists, and maintenance workers have been exposed to this toxic chemical. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or are receiving chemotherapy as a result of Roundup exposure, call the law offices of Anna Jar and Levine at 1-800-565-4000. That's 1-800-565-4000 for a free consultation.
What's the fastest way to get behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota? Toyota Rent-A-Car from my friends over at Arlington Toyota. The 2020 models are now arriving at Arlington Toyota, and Toyota Rent-A-Car is the best way to try it before you buy it. Got a road trip coming up, a long weekend with the girls, or a football getaway maybe? Toyota Rent-A-Car at Arlington Toyota's got you covered with an amazing selection of 2020 Toyotas that are road and rental ready. Everything about renting a Toyota from Arlington Toyota is easy. They've got amazing 2020 models, simple online reservations, and staff that's always eager to help. Gotta tell you, the hardest part's gonna be when it's time to turn your rental back in. These 2020s are sweet. Toyota Rent-A-Car from Arlington Toyota is ready to put you behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota for your next adventure. Just visit arlingtontoyota.com. That's arlingtontoyota.com and get your online reservation started today.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Codan is now Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level.
Will Stan Van Gundy dance at an Elton John concert? Is that something that's ever happened? Is it something that ever would happen?
No. The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
I don't think anybody in our locker room was surprised by DJ's performance on Sunday. I think he has been doing that. I don't want to, from training camp on. I mean, you saw flashes in spring in the OTAs, but I think from training camp on, he's a force to be reckoned with, especially down the field. I mean, that's a big man that can run fast. Whenever you have those combinations, he can high point the football. I mean, he was covered on the touchdown. You never feel bad for the opponent, but I was like, man, you can't get any better coverage than that.
That's John DeFilippo, Jaguars offensive coordinator, and he was talking about that touchdown play, and that was true. That was really good coverage, and it was a great throw. Dropped right in the bucket by Nick Foles and right into the hands of DJ Chark, and I liked how he described it because he kind of held off the defensive back, and that's what receivers should do, young or old. But it was kind of a veteran type of move to put the body positioning between him and the ball and be able to get that thing and not have it knocked away because it looked good defense. Nick Foles comment real quick. Asked a little bit about Nick Foles today to John DeFilippo when we were down there and kind of what you can expect out of him because you know the deal. When guys get hurt, they kind of go in the NFL. I mean, they just go rehab. They go in their own little world. Yeah, it's hard to be part of the team.
Yeah, and even when you try, like you're not around the guys, so you're on the outside looking in. It's just it's kind of a weird scene.
Yeah. And he said, well, I texted him this morning, and I told him he's the assistant offensive coordinator. So he's going to be very present, is my point, in the Jaguars locker room, in the meeting rooms, I think on the sideline. I think he can see a lot. And DeFilippo had a good point. He's like, listen, if I don't utilize that resource, I'm a dummy. You know, for not the guy's played in big games. He knows our offense really well, and he can help out Gardner Minshew. So it'll be a little bit different, is my point, than maybe another player that might be out for the year. Like Marquise Lee, I don't think was that involved last year. And that's not a knock on Marquise. I think that's the way it goes when a guy's rehabbing and worried about his stuff. And we've talked about it at length before. A lot of guys get depressed when they get hurt because they're away from it. The one difference here with Foles is he's coming back. He has every plan to come back unless there's a setback. He'll be back in mid-November, so he has to stay in tuned and be around it all.
And it's also very telling, too. We talk about John DeFilippo, kind of utilizing Foles, as an assistant offensive coordinator, but it's also Foles that's, helping out Gardner Minshew as well. I think that was very prevalent where when Nick Foles went to the locker room to get the x-rays and everything, he wanted to go back and help Minshew out, and I think that's very telling as well. And that's the quote unquote being a good teammate and story is old as time, right? But I think sometimes where egos get involved a little bit where, you're helping this guy that could, I don't want to say take your job, but if he has success, who's to say Foles goes back in, So it's always a slippery slope there, but I think Foles is that great teammate where he's going to try to help Minshew as much as possible and make sure that he plays to the best of his abilities.
We will talk Carolina and Tampa in just a moment. A quick Jags note I don't want to leave out, and this could have been ballin'. It could be anything, but it's definitely worth a note. The Pro Football Hall of Fame cycle is back in motion, and that means the nominees are out. This is like the big list of nominees, and then it will get cut down to finalists, and that's what Tony Baselli's been on and had him knocking at the door of Canton, Ohio. But the names on the list that are former Jaguars right now, Maurice Jones-Drew, Fred Taylor, Jimmy Smith, and, of course, Tony Baselli. So 4 of them on the big list as this process begins for another year, and we will find out in February of 2020 down in Miami at the Super Bowl if any of them get deep into the process. We'll actually find out before then, and usually Baselli has been involved in that part of the process, and we'll see if he once again is. Hopefully this is the year for Baselli, and then hopefully there's others that follow suit, like Fred, Jimmy. I don't know if Maurice Jones-Drew will really warrant Hall of Fame consideration down the road. I think from a fan base perspective, from an organization standpoint, from a wish list, I think it's let's get Baselli in that Hall of Fame, and then hopefully a Fred Taylor can follow suit, and Jimmy Smith, I think, should have conversations about him too. So we'll talk more about it down the road. How about tonight? Carolina, Tampa.
Yeah.
How big of a game is this for Jameis Winston, do you think? He's got to be the biggest target of it, and almost any player in the league, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big game for both teams. Jameis, listen, it's been the same story for a long time with Jameis Winston. It's making the mistakes. It's making the dumb throws. And I think the thought was that Bruce Arians could come in, who's kind of been the QB whisperer, and help Jameis out. And I get it. It's only one game so far, but so far that hasn't been the case. And you look at a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team where they're not going to run the ball, Brent. But they have so many weapons, whether it's Godwin, whether it's Mike Evans, whether it's O.J. Howard, my fantasy team. O.J. Howard, step your game up a little bit for this game, please. They have so many weapons at Jameis Winston's disposal. He just got to make the right decision with that. But also, you got a guy like Cam Newton, Brent, who is playing for you tonight, I think, unless you change your mind and play Jared Goff.
Someone on social media on Facebook or YouTube said I should play Goff. I'm going with Cam Newton. You know why I'm going with Cam Newton?
Hit me with it.
Because I just want to watch tonight.
Yeah, it makes it a little more appealing,
might not be the
right?
executive decision.
That's the beauty of fantasy football.
But I'm going to watch it, and I want to see it.
All of a sudden, Panthers, Buccaneers, a little more intriguing,
That's right? Because it's really not that intriguing.
So here's the thing with the Panthers, Brett, and something maybe you should be a little cautious of. I'm not sure how hurt Cam Newton's ankle or foot is still hurt from the preseason, right? But there's been a tendency that I've seen watching, because I've had Cam Newton before, too, on my team, and there's been a tendency of watching the Carolina Panthers when Cam Newton's hurt, is that they limit the playbook down to absolutely zero. When the Panthers really hum, when they used to have like Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, Cam Newton was 100% healthy and he could beat you with his arm and his feet. Now, he only got a couple rushes the last game. I think they're trying to limit him a little bit. Hopefully he can get turned loose here. Hopefully he's not seriously injured with that foot and he can kind of be that dual threat guy, because that's when the offense really flows. Right now, all you're seeing is Greg Olsen and then Christian McCaffrey, obviously. You're not seeing the full extent of that Panthers offense. They have a guy by the name of DJ Moore, who's an explosive receiver. Curtis Samuel, another guy. Those guys aren't getting the ball right now because they're not using their full offense. So hopefully they're a little less, cautious with Cam Newton tonight, and they come out and throw the whole arsenal at him.
Is Cam Newton going to be one of these guys that eventually is maybe has a similar storyline as Andrew Luck, where he just gets beat up too much and just can't have a prolonged, he's already had a decent NFL career. I'm just saying, as long as he would like maybe NFL career, especially at a high level, because I feel like for the last 3 years, all we've done is talk about injuries with Cam Newton.
Absolutely. And as opposed to Andrew Luck, where Andrew Luck, when he couldn't run, he's still a true pocket passer. I don't think Cam Newton is a pocket passer. I think he depends on being that dual threat guy to get some of his passing numbers up, especially in the yardage portion. So if you're talking about a lot of injuries with Cam Newton, Brent, if he's that one-dimensional, just got to stand back there and just kind of pat his feet a little bit and can't really move, can't be mobile, that limits him, and that sets him up for more injuries. So I completely agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised here, man, if we're talking the next 2 years where his body just starts shutting down and he can't take it anymore, because even though he is a bigger guy, he takes a lot of hits.
Who do you like tonight?
Go ahead and give me the Panthers. The biggest story with the Panthers so far is their defense actually has been playing pretty well from the standpoint they transferred from a legit 4-3 to a legit 3-4 now. And I think their defense is playing legit. I think Jameis Winston keeps making mistakes. Go ahead and give me the Panthers. You?
I like the Panthers to win the game. I like the Tampa Bay Bucks to cover. I think they'll play better.
What's the spread? I didn't even see the spread.
I want to say it was like 6.5. Might have been 7.5.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
But I think the Bucks are going to play better is my point.
Sure.
I just think it might be a little hard to get over the hump and beat Carolina. The big game for Carolina. I don't know what Carolina is. I never know what they are. It's a really hard team to figure out.
Yeah.
And I remember the year they went 15-1 into the Super Bowl. Every week I was like, I don't believe in them. I don't believe in them. And all they kept doing is winning. Win. And it wasn't it was almost Tennessee-esque.
Keep pounding, baby. That's why they got that's what they do.
Like,
Keep pounding.
They're Tennessee-esque, where they don't really Kuechly over the years been great. McCaffrey, he's good. Cam Newton can be great. But you're still like, I'm not really sold on those guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not going all in on those guys. And then they find ways to win. So I really don't know what to expect. And that being said, I think they better win this football game if they're going to be something, especially in that division.
Exactly. I mean, they started 0-1, played a tough game against the Rams. I thought their defense showed up for the most part. But once again, Brent, we're talking about, Cam Newton here, who shines on prime time. We're going to get a really good glimpse of if he's actually really hurt or if it was just kind of a fluke week 1 against the Rams. So hopefully Cam Newton could have a good night for you, because I'm not playing you, so I don't really care. But good luck to you in your fantasy endeavors.
Speaking of fantasy, Kuz, do you have a question on the fantasy football?
Yeah, we do. We've got some funny comments here, too. But
I can imagine.
What are they? They say how good I look?
Someone said Austin would pull off a good Tommy Chong.
Tommy Chong?
Cheech and Chong?
Oh, yeah, totally. All right. I'm in for that.
Great version of the Christmas, what is it? Is it Santa Claus? No, they just have a Christmas album, don't they? Cheech and Chong?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. Yeah. All right, cool.
There you go. And then the other one, someone said, I actually went to high school with Minshew. He's an amazing guy. He made sure he had a connection with everybody on the team, which I'd assume is talking about the football team.
Do you know his sister was I think Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Mississippi in volleyball.
Yeah.
And she plays at Mississippi State. Ring the bell. There we go. Yep. Mississippi State. So good genes in the Minshew family.
Speaking of the Minshew family, speaking of Gardner,
the genes are cut off.
Shorts,
well, and this, when I was prepping for my role today, Brent, of Gardner Minshew and going forward with the character, I mean, a lifetime, really, if you think about it. But I was wondering this. I mean, and here's the biggest question. I had a tin of Skull Citrus I was going to put in this pocket right here, but I don't know if Gardner Minshew chews or not. I think
if you look
growing
like
in the
this,
South,
you better chew.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't advocate it, kids.
No, I'm not saying it's the right thing.
He really should have his own line, right?
It's like the last thing I'm missing in this.
I know, right? And I was going to put it in my pocket, but I'm like, well, I don't want to insinuate he chews if he doesn't chew.
Well,
I don't know.
have to ask him.
I feel like you can't get like a perfect score on the Wonderlick and then chew as well. I don't know. We'll see.
That's a good mystery question.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get to the bottom of it.
All right, the fantasy question was, should I start Baker Mayfield or Lamar this week?
Oof, don't you have to ride with Lamar?
You have to roll with Lamar all day. So Lamar's playing the Arizona Cardinals.
Game.
Great game. The Arizona Cardinals, though, this isn't your Arizona Cardinals from a couple years ago with their solid defense and everything. We got Calais Campbell now. Honey Badger's gone, and they're missing some guys in their secondary.
6-game suspension.
Exactly. So I think from that perspective, you got to roll with Lamar. And keep in mind with Lamar Jackson, only had about 6 rushing yards against Miami. You didn't even see a fraction of that new offense that they're going to unveil. And I think when you got Hollywood Brown, quote unquote, maybe the fastest guy in the NFL right now, you have him at your disposal. You can go deep. I'm taking Lamar Jackson all day.
If you could do it all over again, you would put that game on Monday Night Football.
You put the Ravens and the Cardinals?
Yes, because I'd like to see that Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson.
Okay, I got you. I mean, I honestly, I'm intrigued by the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings this week.
That's fine, but I'm talking entertainment value. I'd watch those two quarterbacks play.
Heisman Trophy winners.
But your argument with the Monday night game was that they were too reactionary, right? Wouldn't that kind of still be reactionary to Kyler?
Probably because his first 3 quarters were terrible.
Yeah.
But I could buy into that and the intrigue of those two kind of styles of play, especially given the way Lamar Jackson played in week 1, more than I can being sold on Cleveland and the New York Jets.
Yeah.
It's really less Cleveland than the Jets. I don't know what was so intriguing about the Jets other than the New York market, of course.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, maybe.
That's in, yeah.
And I mean, I guess Darnold's fine. Go ahead real quick. We got to get stay in your lane.
James says, do you think they need to monitor Fournette's carries? On the fumble, he looked like he was very tired.
Yeah, some people noted that, and I think he was, and probably a little fatigued, and that might have something to do with the lack of plays in the preseason. Also, it was 140 degrees out there on the field. But, yeah, they've got to be a little careful of that. They don't want to grind them into the ground the first month of the season because they have to ride them all year long. But you also got to get some W's. So the more you can do that, the better. Go ahead.
Stay in your lane real quick.
Cruz,
hit me. End scene. End scene. Okay, thank you. End scene. This is the Minshew moment. Okay, so real quick, so Brent, we talked about the kid from Tallahassee who's a Tennessee fan, made his own T-shirt, got bullied about it. Tennessee took notice, started selling those shirts in the pro shop. Well, the story just keeps getting better and better. Now the kid was offered a scholarship as part of the 2032 class to attend the University of Tennessee.
Way to take advantage of that moment, Tennessee, and doing the right thing, but I still think it's cool.
No, absolutely. So let's give you a note to my son, where if my son gets my genes and gets bad grades like I did in high school, doesn't play football, at least we can make T-shirts now, and maybe university can keep track of that.
Go Ronan.
Let's go Ronan. Yeah, let's make some T-shirts, dude.
Pump your brakes.
Pump your brakes real quick. And I just deleted my pump your brakes, but it's okay because I can remember it. So a fan threw a beer at a Tennessee Titans player in Cleveland.
Yeah, I heard about it.
And
they're complaining to the NFL.
Yeah, so unfortunately the guy was accused and everything, got banned from the stadium for life. Only problem is that this guy wasn't actually at the game. Hasn't been to a game in 10 years.
Fan.
They got the wrong fan. The guy hasn't been there in 10 years. Hey, Cleveland Browns, not only improve your secondary, but also step your game up in terms of identifying people in the stands.
They got the wrong guy at the dog pound.
Yes.
All right. We're going to Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. DJ Chark, Calais Campbell, Jaguars All Access coming up on CBS 47. Minshew Mania done for the day, but every kid in Jacksonville's wearing this for Halloween, right?
Oh, yeah. Winshew, baby. Just Winshew. Do we trademark that? Winshew?
Winshew, let's do it. Swaggo and Winshew.
Okay, let's do it.
Have a good night, everybody.
Sounds like money.
How many jewelry stores ask you to shop around? Beard's Diamonds wants you to see the selection and pricing other stores have to offer. Why? Here's Ben from Beard's Diamonds to tell you.